Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was Sage of God in High School DxD. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Bratja Rasa and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1, Little Soldier Boy, Dimensional Gap. Ophis, the infinite dragon god, the Ouroboros dragon, floated in silence as she was in the fetal position sleeping. Dream. Ophis, in her dragon form, defeated another pathetic being who tried encroaching her turf. Weaklings, she thought as she settled down. None who have challenged me can defeat me, so why don't they just leave me alone? She closed her eyes, only to open them again when she felt a strange power enter her home. I guess I have another opponent, she thought as she spread her wings and took flight. As she neared the person, she caught a glimpse of what they looked like. He was tall, had pale skin and hair, a goatee, and wore white clothing with black markings here and there. His eyes had a strange ripple pattern to them, and he had two horns protruding from his forehead along with a mark in the middle. Ophis sped forward, ready to kill this man, only to be swiftly evaded, the stranger not once attacking. Hold it, he stated loudly, his tone not aggressive. Please wait, I am not here to start trouble. Ophis stopped. Human, why are you here? Ophis demanded, not lowering her guard. My name is Hagoromo Otsutsuki, and I am a traveler. Dream end. Ophis opened her eyes as she felt something enter her home. Hagoromo? She thought as she recognized this chakra signature, her eyes widening with hope. But he died. How can this be? She sped off towards the person who entered her home, her heart holding desperately to the desire to see Hagoromo, her lover, again. But what she found wasn't the creator of Nisho. What she found was a 17-year-old boy with blonde hair, whisker marks on his cheeks, a tattered outfit with orange pants, a beaten and bloody body, and a severed left arm floating next to him. The left hand floating next to the boy had a black moon tattoo on its palm, where the boy's right hand had a white sun on it. This boy, Ophis thought as she started to tear up as she recognized him. Ashura, who are you? Ophis heard this in her head. My name is Ophis, and I am here to help. Ophis said aloud as she touched the boy in the arm, draining the chakra from the arm, transferring it to the boy, causing the moon mark to appear in his left hand. I shall give him new life in my world. There was a bright light and within an instant, the boy was gone. I am sorry Ashura, but I can't raise you. Ophis thought sadly as she felt her dreaded rival, Great Red, appear again. I have an annoying lizard to fight, so until he is dead, I can't see you. Kyoto, Japan. Sir, another human village has been successfully raided. A commander said to the leader of Kyoto, Iroh, and the princess of Kyoto, Miko. Iroh was a kyuubi with dark graying hair and a slight balding head. He wore Chinese-styled armor that was red and dark maroon. On the chest plate of his armor was a white lotus badge that had been passed down from ruler to ruler, showing their status as ruler of Kyoto. Miko, in contrast, had bright blonde hair, 5 tails, and had a monocle on her eye. She wore a traditional Miko garb with her shoulders exposed. Her stomach was slightly rounded to show she was pregnant. Good, Iroh stated calmly. Were there any complications? The commander sadly looked at his comrade, very hesitant to report what came next. Sir, we are sad to report Prince and General Liu Ten was killed during the raid, the commander said in reluctance. He died protecting us from the other raiders. Iroh was visibly disturbed from this announcement. Papa, Miko thought as she gasped from the news of her brother dying. Iroh, who was known as a ruthless man towards his enemies and a kind soul to his comrades, broke that day. Miko stepped up and comforted her father. Iroh stood up, his tears streaming down his cheeks and into his beard. I, Iroh, hereby step down as Kyoto's leader, he said shakily as he removed the white lotus pin. Miko, you are the new leader. He placed the pin next to Miko, who was in shock. Papa, please think about this, she begged before Iroh left the room, unable to stomach it anymore. He walked through the field, grabbing some items before making his way towards a special area. At the border of Kyoto, a small cliff overlooked its borders with a single cherry blossom tree. Iroh sat down, and with one hand he set up the picture and lit some incense. My son, he muttered sadly as he stared at Liu Ten's photo. There was a sad silence, the wind pulling some of the blossoms from their branches, leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells. Iroh sang softly as he looked at the picture of his now dead son, drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy, Iroh choked a bit. Comes marching home, he finished as he touched his chest, clenching the armor piece. My little soldier boy. Iroh's ears twitched at the sounds of footsteps nearing him, causing him to stop singing, and stand up, prepared to fight. His eyes widened at what he saw. A human woman, beaten and bruised, wearing tattered clothes. She had large patches of burned flesh covering her bleeding legs, her long hair matted down as she weakly walked forward, her eyes looking forward but not seeing anything. In her arms was an infant, one Iroh couldn't see, but he could sense chakra in the child. A human and a Hanayo, Iroh thought as he rushed forward to the woman. She looked up and saw Iroh. She smiled but started to collapse. Whoa, please take it easy, Iroh said in concern as he gently placed a hand on her back. Please, she begged. Please take care of him, I beg you. She held the child out to Iroh. Iroh saw the child's face. It was a baby boy. He had tan skin, and his small cheeks had 3 whisker marks. So, he is a Hanayo. Iroh thought as he took the child from their mother. I will. I promise. Using the last of her strength, the woman smiled before collapsing to the ground, her blood soaking into the earth. I can't leave her here. Iroh thought as he held the child. I shall bury her nearby, but first I need to take. He unfolded the blanket from the child's head. Iroh expected to see a pair of yokai ears atop the babe's head, but he didn't have any. All he had was a pair of human ears. Iroh checked his fingers. No ears, no claws, Iroh thought in awe. He is a human child, but he has chakra. The baby moved a bit, before he yawned as he opened his cerulean blue eyes. Iroh felt a sense of fatherly love grow for the child. This child is the same as me. Iroh thought as he looked towards the cherry tree, seeing Luten's picture. He lost someone who he loved. Iroh became weepy-eyed. Luten, could this be a coincidence, or is this destiny that we would meet, child? Iroh thought as he held the child close, his beard brushing the child's skin as he cried. The baby smiled a bit at this as he grabbed Iroh's beard. Now he needs a name. Iroh thought through his tears and a twinge of pain in his face. Skip 7 years. Naruto Uzumaki, are you paying attention? Iroh asked gently as he sat before said child with a book. Yes. Naruto replied, grabbing the book before him and pretending to read. Iroh sighed with a smile as he closed his book. I think that is enough for today. Iroh said as he stood up. Yay! Naruto shouted joyfully as he shot from the chair, only to run into Iroh's tails. Hold it, young man. Iroh said with a chuckle. How do young men walk? Naruto pouted before he collected his composure and straightened himself out. Good, now you can go. Iroh said, nudging Naruto forward. Naruto walked out of the room, and once he was out of sight, he took off running, thinking Iroh wouldn't notice. Iroh smiled proudly as he heard Naruto's feet hit the floor of the compound. He sure is energetic. Iroh thought as he left the room, and headed towards the throne room. He entered and saw Miko wearing a more elegant kimono, fitting her status as ruler of Kyoto. General Iroh. Miko said respectfully to her father. You don't have to act like this when it is just us, daughter. Iroh responded. I know, but we have to conduct business. Miko replied. I understand. Iroh said as he and Miko started talking business. Meanwhile, Naruto made his way through the compound, looking for someone in specific. Nau, said boy was tackled to the ground. Tama. Naruto laughed as he hugged his jumper. She had blonde hair, and 2 tails. Her eyes were amethyst. She wore a Miko outfit. Tamamo, what have I said about jumping Naruto? Yashimaru said sternly as he helped the children up. He is a human, so you could easily hurt him. Tamamo pouted and stuck her tongue out at her dad. Naru is strong, papa. She said as she clung to Naruto, who didn't mind the contact with her. He is my husband. Yashimaru laughed as he ruffled their hair with his hands. I know, just don't repeat that in front of Mama, okay? At these words, Naruto became sad. Does Lady Miko hate me? He asked randomly. What? No, Miko doesn't hate you. Yashimaru said as he knelt before the boy. What would make you say that? Naruto shifted under Yashimaru's concerned gaze. Every time she sees me and Gramps, I can feel her anger. She has these Naruto stammered as he tried to explain this to Yashimaru. It hurts and I don't like this feeling I get from her. Yashimaru looked shocked and bewildered. He has chakra, but can he sense negative emotions? Yashimaru thought as he rubbed Naruto's head. No, you are probably imagining it, kiddo. Now let's go to the park. Naruto immediately cheered up at this statement, taking Yashimaru's hand before he, Yashimaru, and Tamama went to the park. That night Yashimaru walked beside his wife. Sweetheart, he said, drawing her attention as the setting sun glowed through the hallway. Can we talk? Sure, what about? Miko asked. It's about Naruto. Yashimaru said, seeing the visible crease in her brow. What about him? Miko asked in a light tone of irritation. Meanwhile, Iroh prepared to go to the cherry tree again while putting a peepa around his shoulders. I don't need an escort. Iroh told his attendant. But General Iroh, the attendant stuttered. Lady Miko said. Iroh chuckled before he put a gentle hand on the attendant's shoulder. I was the previous ruler, so let's say I am telling you I don't need an escort. He said, not in a threatening tone, but a playful one. Of course, sir. The attendant replied, admitting defeat. Iroh grabbed his satchel as he headed for the door. He grunted as he caught something in the corner of his eye. Tamamo and Naruto were glancing over the wall at Iroh, thinking he didn't notice them. He left the compound. They are following me. He thought as he smiled. You don't need to hide, Naruto, Tamamo. Iroh called out. Drat, he found us out. Tamamo pouted. Naruto didn't say anything as he and Tamamo walked towards the former ruler. If you guys wanted to come with me, you could have asked. Iroh said as he lifted the 2 children up onto his shoulders with a hearty laugh. Alright, let's go. Where are we going? Naruto asked as he felt Iroh take off in a run, something he was accustomed to, somewhere special. Iroh replied, jumping high in the sky, making the 2 kids scream as they clung to him. Iroh laughed as they landed. Don't do that again, Gramps. Tamamo and Naruto shouted into Iroh's ears. Okay, I'm sorry. Iroh snickered. He walked the rest of the way, once more returning to the cherry tree. This time with Naruto and Tamamo. Why are we here, Gramps? Naruto asked curiously as he and Tamamo sat down, watching Iroh set up Luten's picture and incense sticks. I am celebrating my son's birthday, Iroh said as he moved his pipa, tuning the stringed instrument before sitting down. It is an important day. Iroh lit the incense, and then strung his instrument. Happy birthday, my son, Iroh said sadly, which caught Naruto and Tamamo by surprise. If only I could have helped you. They had never seen their strong grandfather be sad before. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells. Iroh sang softly as played the pipa softly in tune with his song. Drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy, Iroh choked a bit. Comes marching home, he finished as he continued to play. Tamamo and Naruto stood up and hugged Iroh as he teared up, his cheeks and beard becoming wet. Luten. Iroh thought sadly as he remembered playing with his child as a young boy all those decades ago as a gentle wind blew across the trio while the sunset turned the sky orange and violet. I miss you so much, and I know, you too would have loved Tamamo and Naruto. They are my treasures, just like you, Miko, and Yashimaru. Skip, 1 year later. Papa! Tamamo screamed as they lowered Yashimaru's body into his grave. Miko stared lividly at her husband's grave as they started to fill it with dirt. All of this she thought as she glared at Naruto, who stood beside Iroh crying. Because of that boy. Flashback. 1 year ago. It's about Naruto. What about him? Yashimaru was not impressed by his wife's tone. He is worried you hate him. Yashimaru continued. Miko gave no reply. What I think of him doesn't concern the matters at hand. Miko replied after several tense moments. We are currently having a struggle against the northern tribe of yokai here in Japan, so we need to focus on that. Sweetheart, you can tell me why you are so angry, Yashimaru urged. You don't have to hide it from me. Miko gripped her arms as she started to shake in anger. He took my father, she stated through grit teeth and fangs. Luten died, and then he adopts that brat Naruto, forgetting me and Luten. 2 days ago, Yashimaru prepared to go on his regular patrol of the border. Papa/Yashimaru. Tamamo and Naruto said as they ran to him, hugging his legs. Hey you too, he said with a giant grin as he hugged them back. Okay, come on, I need to go. But Papa, you said you would play with us today. Tamamo pouted, giving him the best puppy dog eyes that she could muster. Sorry, kiddo, but that will have to wait until tomorrow, okay? Yashimaru replied as he gently removed the children from him, handing them over to Iroh. Yashimaru walked to the throne room, and bid farewell to his wife. Sweetheart, he said before he left, standing in the threshold. Please look after Tamamo and Naruto. End flashback. Miko could not stop this intense anger she felt building up within her. First her brother and father, and now her husband. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells. Naruto started to sing, catching everyone off guard. Drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home. Miko watched the boy, her heart wrenching itself as he sang her father's song. That little bastard. Miko thought angrily as she gripped her chest, her heart aching as she started to break down, the loss of her husband chipping away at her emotions as she held her crying daughter. Chapter 1, done. Chapter 2, Nature's Love. Naruto, age 8, gasped as his back hit a tree while he was surrounded by 3 older yokai children. One was a Tsuchigumo, one was a Kappa, one was a Tengu. He and Iroh had been attending a small festival, evident of the more elegant and festive kimono Naruto was wearing, and he had gotten lost before he was grabbed and pulled into the forest. Kawamatsu, he isn't even fighting back. The Kappa child said nervously to the Tengu as he kept an eye out for adults or anyone who would find them. It's alright, Damamaru, Kawamatsu stated to the Kappa, as he cracked his knuckles. He won't make a sound. Come on, let's do it. The Tsuchigumo urged as his 8 eyes looked at Naruto as the boy shook. He is just a weak human after all. Then by all means, Shun, take the first punch. Kawamatsu allowed. Shun grinned, his fist colliding with Naruto's face. Stupid, useless human! Shun shouted as Kawamatsu kicked Naruto. You have no right to be alive, especially with you having those false whiskers. You trying to be one of us? Damamaru felt intense guilt as he watched his friends kick and punch Naruto, who didn't raise a hand as he lay in the fetal position, covering his head with his thin arms. Now, to end this waste of space's life, Kawamatsu stated as he channeled some chakra into his arm. Guys, that's enough. Damamaru stated, not able to stomach this anymore. He isn't fighting back, and if we kill him, no one would care. Shun interrupted as he backhanded Damamaru. Lord Iroh must have kept him around to eat him. This human may have chakra, but he can't use it, so Lord Iroh must have been planning to take it for himself. Naruto's eyes widened. Gramps doesn't love me? He questioned, not noticing Shun and Kawamatsu grabbing large rocks. Don't! Damamaru shouted, trying to get up to stop them. Shun and Kawamatsu were bathed in chakra, Damamaru and Naruto feeling it as well, but nowhere as much as the acting bullies. Kawamatsu and Shun slowly turned and dropped the rocks. Iroh stood eerily still as he looked past the boys to see his grandson on the ground, bleeding and crying. He walked forward, his face set in a calm and calculating mood as he took each step. "Oh Lord Iroh," Damamaru whimpered as he started to cry. I'm sorry." Iroh didn't acknowledge Damamaru's words, at least it didn't appear he heard the boy. Iroh passed Kawamatsu and Shun, kneeling down and carefully picking Naruto up. His face didn't change as he turned, gently holding Naruto in one arm, as he used the other one to gently push against Damamaru's back to help him up. "Come with me, young one," he stated, not ordered calmly. Kawamatsu and Shun started to shake as Damamaru got up. "Yes, sir." Damamaru whimpered, cleaning his eyes with his hands as he followed the former leader of Kyoto. As they walked through the city, Damamaru saw everyone looking at Iroh, specifically, Naruto in his arms. He was bleeding with one eye purple and swollen shut. These were the visible injuries. Only Amaterasu knew what happened internally due to Naruto being human, meaning the attacks of yokai children could kill a normal human. Damamaru's guilt increased the closer to Iroh's home they got. "May I ask your name?" Iroh asked. "Damamaru." The Kappa replied meekly. There was a silence. "It is a good name," Iroh replied. Damamaru nodded, scared to reply. There was more silence, and Damamaru felt out of place as he and Iroh arrived in the lush and extravagant compound the leaders of Kyoto and their families lived, aka Iroh's family. "Lord Oichimai Amaterasu," one of the guards shouted as they saw Naruto in Iroh's arms. "Please stay calm," Iroh stated. "He will be fine." "Is the doctor in?" "No, he isn't. I shall go retrieve them," the guard stated quickly before they took off with their superior speed. "Follow me, Damamaru," Iroh asked as he removed his slippers and entered the compound. Damamaru, being poor, didn't have clean clothing, but followed suit behind Iroh. Iroh turned and entered the infirmary, carefully placing Naruto in one of the beds, seeing Naruto flinching as he did. He sat down in one of the chairs, prompting Damamaru to sit as well. "Lord Iroh, why did you bring me here?" Damamaru asked as he was overwhelmed by being in the presence of the great General Iroh. "I wanted to thank you," Iroh replied as he looked at the Kappa. "You tried to stop those two boys from hurting my grandson, so I wanted to help you," Damamaru faltered. I didn't do anything. They still hurt him," Damamaru replied. Iroh smiled with a soft chuckle as he raised his hand and carefully patted Damamaru's head. "You may see it that way, but if you didn't try, Naruto could have had his head damaged by the rocks those boys had," Iroh pointed out. Damamaru started to shake. "Thank you, sir," he said as he gripped his legs. "Thank you? No, thank you," Iroh said with a bright smile. While Iroh was angry, he had mastered his emotions to be able to have unclouded judgment on the battlefield, and it helped while being leader as well. Before they could talk more, the bull demon doctor entered. "Lord Iroh, I rushed here as soon as I heard what happened. Please move aside," he stated as he prepared to help Naruto as a few nurses appeared. Iroh and Damamaru exited the infirmary, and saw Tamamo, age 8, and the look of fear as she could smell Naruto in the room as the doors closed. "Grandpa, what happened?" Tamamo asked, grabbing onto Iroh's kimono as she looked up with teary eyes. "It is alright, child," Iroh said with a smile as he patted her head. "Naruto is going to be alright." Damamaru watched the princess of Kyoto hug her grandfather and felt like a third wheel. "Now for you, Damamaru," Iroh said as he turned to the Kappa. "Can you tell me what happened?" Damamaru had expected this, and felt guilt as he told Iroh everything. "I see," Iroh replied sadly. "It isn't only the adults, but the children as well." "Sir?" Damamaru asked as he saw the deep thought look on Iroh's face. "Nothing, now, let's get you home," Iroh stated as he took Damamaru's hand. As he promised, he got the Kappa home, and then walked back. Naruto isn't safe outside the compound, Iroh thought as he walked in silence. So, he won't be allowed to leave, but that is cruel. He needs to be able to fall, but that means I must be there to help him stand. Iroh nodded in self-agreement before he stopped and sadly looked up to the stars. "Luten, please give me the strength to help Naruto, and be the person he needs." Iroh silently prayed before he continued home. Once back at the compound, Iroh talked to Dr. Izo. He will be fine, but several bones were cracked/broken. Dr. Izo explained as he showed Iroh the paperwork. "Surprisingly, his body is healing much faster than a human should. I mean, much faster." "What does that mean?" Iroh asked in worry. "It means he is resilient, but that doesn't mean this can be allowed to continue," Izo replied as he pushed his glasses up. "He is still human, so one well-placed attack can kill him." Iroh felt his gut wrench and twist. "I'll do what I can to help him finish healing, but please try to keep this from happening," Izo said as he patted his old friend on the shoulder. "I care for him too, so please don't hesitate to call me if anything happens." He turned to leave, before he stopped. "Princess Tamamo isn't there with him now, he is awake," Izo said before he left. Iroh bowed. "Thank you, Izo," Iroh said sincerely. Izo lazily waved. Iroh walked to the infirmary, stopping when his fox ears picked up on Tamamo's voice within. "Naruto," Tamamo begged as she nudged Naruto, who was covered in bandages. "Naruto, please talk to me?" Naruto's visible eye were dead, no light in it as he avoided Tamamo's gaze. "Naruto? Tama, was it okay for me to be born?" Naruto whispered, knowing she would hear him. Iroh and Tamamo's eyes went wide at these words. Of course, it was okay. Tamamo shouted as she took Naruto's hands in hers. Grandpa would be sad, and I would be lonely if you weren't here right now. Naruto looked away. But those boys, they said I was useless, and that Gramps only wanted me for my power, Naruto said in defeat. Tamamo hugged Naruto, ignoring his pain as she did. I want you in my life. Tamamo admitted, blushing and tightening her grip and her tail wrapping around Naruto. I won't let go until you are okay. Iroh walked in, making Tamamo see him. Naruto. Iroh called out as he sat down, calling the boys' attention. Those boys were nothing but liars. I took you in because I needed you. Naruto didn't believe Iroh, which the latter could see. Naruto, the day I found you, my son Luten had been killed in battle. Iroh told him, believing now was the time. Naruto and Tamamo blinked. What? Naruto drying asked, his throat feeling parched. Iroh took a deep breath. Luten was a general, like me, however I had to send him into the front lines. On October 10th, 8 years ago, I was told he died protecting his comrades. Iroh continued. I gave up my position as leader and gave that to Miko, and I left the capital, and once at my tree, I found you and your dying mother. What I saw that day wasn't a thing I could take power from. I saw a baby that needed someone after losing someone dear to him. I saw myself in you. Iroh looked Naruto in the eye, tears in his eyes. I had a hole in my heart after losing my son, and you filled that hole, Naruto. I love you, and please don't ever doubt that fact. Iroh finished. Naruto grit his teeth as he tried not to cry. Love you too, Gramps Tama? He choked as he broke down. 2 years later, compound training garden. Naruto, age 10, sat beside Iroh as they watched Miko training Tamamo, age 9.5, and gathering nature energy to become a sage, and then later on, tap into the ley lines. Deep breaths, Tamamo? Miko guided quietly. Tamamo frowned as she sat in a meditative stance, eyes closed and hands together. She had been trying to gather nature energy for hours. Miko and Iroh could feel her reaching out for nature to lend its power to her, but it wasn't reciprocating. I can't get it. Tamamo gasped angrily as she stood up, not being able to get it. It's too hard. Miko smiled a bit. It's okay, sweetheart. Miko said as she made a hand gesture to have Tamamo sit down. It isn't something that can be mastered instantly. You need to go at your own pace. No need to rush it. With that, Miko entered her sage mode, tribal markings appearing on her body, her eyes becoming red as nature energy entered her body. 1. Nature will lend its strength. Iroh stated as he entered his own sage mode, red and black markings appearing across his face as if he was a kabuki theater actor. Tamamo glared and pouted at the same time. Show-offs. She muttered. Miko and Iroh let out a laugh as they exited their sage modes. It will take time, Tamamo? Iroh said before he looked at Naruto, who tugged on his sleeve. I want to try. Naruto stated innocently. Iroh and Miko blinked in surprise. Well, he does have chakra, so there is no harm in letting him try. Iroh thought positively. Miko, on the other hand, frowned as she pushed her monocle up. He may have chakra, but he is still human. Sure, go ahead, try. You won't be able to. She thought negatively as she kept her poise. Now sit like this, no like this. Iroh guided as he helped Naruto enter the same meditative stance Tamamo was sitting in. Okay, now put your hands like this, yes like that. Naruto, now sitting with his hands clapped together, waited further instruction. Now close your eyes, and take nice, long deep breaths, empty your mind and nature will decide if it wants to lend you energy. Iroh instructed in a way Naruto could understand. Well, he hoped Naruto understood. Naruto nodded his head as Tamamo moved and sat next to Miko, who was watching Naruto with a critical eye, not wanting to miss any detail. Iroh sat back down and nodded. Naruto took that as his signal and closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. He kept his breathing at this rhythmic pace. As I thought, Miko thought as she glared at the boy. He can't do it. At that thought, Iroh, Tamamo, and Miko watched as yellow-orange pigment appeared around Naruto's eyes. The two older kitsune felt nature lend its power, entering Naruto's body. Impossible. Iroh thought in amazement as Naruto naturally mixed and balanced nature's energy into senjutsu. Miko's eyes dilated as she watched Naruto open, revealing toad-like eyes. Impossible, Miko thought erratically as she looked at Naruto innocently look around himself, not noticing the difference. He mastered sage mode. Naruto, this is amazing. Iroh said with joy as he patted Naruto's head, making the boy smile. Unfair. Tamamo whined as she poked Naruto's cheek. I'll get it soon, just you wait, mama? Iroh and Tamamo were pushed aside by Miko as she grabbed Naruto by his throat, gripping it tightly as she entered her sage mode again. How dare you! She shouted angrily, baring her fangs and claws. You, a lowly human, being able to use senjutsu goes against nature, yet it allows you to use its power. Naruto, scared out of his mind, subconsciously felt her emotions hit him like bricks. It was bleeding out of her body in torrential waves, black and red pools of malice that held years of anger and resentment forcing itself into Naruto from Miko's hand. Naruto screamed in pain as Miko's claws dug into his flesh when she squeezed, easily able to snap his neck if she wanted to. Kill him. He will take everything. He is a filthy human, so he deserves to die. Miko's eyes widened as her pupils dilated further to the point they nearly vanished. Die! Miko stated as she went to impale him in the stomach, only to get her wrist grabbed by Iroh, who was in sage mode. Put Naruto down, now, he demanded, his tails waving dangerously as did Miko's. Miko released Naruto, dropping him, and as he coughed, she turned, exiting sage mode. Forgive me, father. Miko apologized, thoroughly disgusted with herself as she realized what she did, seeing the fearful look in Tamamo's eyes as she tended to Naruto, as the boy clung to her. Please continue your training with your grandfather, Tamamo. Miko left the garden. Once alone, Miko took a deep breath. She held it, then let it go. That boy, she thought as she remembered the look of fear he had as she held his throat. What about him makes me so angry? Miko, as much of a nice person she was to her people, could never love nor did she ever want to interact with humans. Her mother died due to humans. Her brother died due to humans. Her father left her for a human. Her husband died to humans. And now her daughter is falling for a human. But these don't excuse my attitude towards him. Miko thought in self-anger, as she shook her head. He has never done anything to me, so why am I this angry? She gripped her head, straining her thoughts as she tried to come up with an answer. No matter how hard she tried, she could not come up with an answer. I hate him, and that is all I know. Miko thought, her eyes thinning as she entered sage mode again, the darker side of nature fueling her aggression. It's all I need to know. Chapter 2, done. Chapter 3, Castle of Bedlam. Kyoto, night. Iroh entered the throne room, where Miko sat upon her throne. General Iroh. She greeted her father respectfully. Lady Miko. Iroh responded with a bow. You summoned me? Miko stood up and walked towards Iroh, her face just as unreadable as Iroh's. I wanted to inform you of a decision I have made, Miko said as she stood in front of him, turning her head to face the window showing the waning moon. A very hard decision. Iroh watched his daughter's body language and expressions. She is being sincere, he thought, his nerves steeling themselves for the worst. General Iroh, Father Miko said as she turned to face him. You and Naruto are banished from the capital, and have until sunset tomorrow to leave. Iroh, looking at Miko, noticed something. Just brief flashes in her eyes, but he could see something dwelling behind them. It was dark and disturbing while having the feeling of insanity wrapped in the mix. He could tell something was deeply wrong with her, but in just as much time, it disappeared from her eyes, giving her the steely look. Iroh knew that look. It was something he feared and knew that no matter how much he wanted to fight this, he needed to take Naruto and get him out of the city before she does something more irrational. For a split second, Iroh's eyes widened before they returned to calm. Banishment, what for? Iroh asked calmly while being on edge. Miko didn't respond immediately. Due to recent events, my position as leader is compromised as long as you and that boy are here, Miko said as she kept her calm posture. Iroh grit his teeth, breaking his calm demeanor. Insolent child, he shouted. You see the world through clouded eyes. My eyes are unclouded, father, Miko retorted. With your banishment, everyone is safe, now leave. Your time is finite. Iroh's hands were clenched tightly with anger as he bowed, turning to leave before pausing. Your mother, brother, and husband would be disappointed in me, Iroh stated, not looking at his daughter. Because I failed in guiding you down the right path. I hope, someday, you can forgive me. Miko watched Iroh leave, gripping her elbow tightly. They would be disappointed, but in me, not you, father, Miko muttered as she left to her room. Iroh made his way to his room, packing as much as he could while it was still dark before heading towards Naruto's room. He quietly entered Naruto's room, and silently packed Naruto's clothes and belongings he would want on the trip. Naruto, Iroh whispered as he knelt by the bed, gently shaking Naruto. HM? Naruto hummed tiredly. Iroh felt his heart get wrenched as he looked at his grandson, small and tired. Look at him. Yes? Naruto murmured as he was in and out of sleep. Iroh steeled his heart and helped Naruto stand. Naruto, we are leaving, Iroh stated. We aren't wanted here anymore. What? Naruto asked, his heart racing as he thought of Tamamo. Why? Iroh shook his head as he picked Naruto up with ease. You will understand someday, Naruto, but for now, we need to leave, Iroh said sadly as he picked up his and Naruto's luggage. I don't want to leave, Naruto whined, tearing up as he started to struggle in Iroh's arm. I don't want to leave, Tama. Iroh walked through the halls, doing his best to leave quietly. But Naruto's struggling didn't make it easier despite him being a kitsune. They made it outside, Naruto kicking Iroh aside as Iroh walked through the gates. Naruto, please calm down, Iroh said as he was having a difficult time leaving as well. Naruto wasn't listening, crying out loudly. Tamamo, meanwhile, heard this, causing her to rouse from her slumber. Neru? She muttered as she looked at her door, seeing Miko entering. No, sweetheart, Miko said as she got into bed with Tamamo, running her hand over Tamamo's ears, making her feel happy and drowsy. It's me. Tamamo snuggled into her mother's warmth, unaware of what happened as Iroh heartbrokenly carried Naruto away, the two leaving Kyoto in the pale moonlight. 2 years later. Welcome to the Jasmine Dragon, Iroh said, wearing bright green and earthy brown kimono and hat as he greeted the customers. Please sit wherever you want, we will help you shortly. Thank you, the yokai said politely, admiring the dragon-themed tea shop. Naruto, we got customers that need help. Iroh called out to Naruto, who was wearing an orange and red kimono. Alright, Grandpa. Naruto, age 12, replied as he walked to the table. Hello, my name is Naruto, and here are your menus. If you need help, call me and I'll do my best to help you. Excuse me, we are ready to order. A different customer politely called, waving their hand calmly to show where they were. Of course. Naruto replied, bowing to the customers with a bright smile before he went to help the other customers. Wow, he is a human, but is so nice. The wife said to her husband, being able to smell Naruto, and know he was a human. I know. Her husband said in honest surprise. Iroh, meanwhile, brewed 3 different teas thanks to his fox fire. I am very happy. He thought as he looked at Naruto, who was grabbing a tray of tea to take to an earlier customer. He has grown so much since we left 2 years ago. He smiled but then stopped as he heard a commotion. Filthy human, what are you trying to pull here? A bull yokai shouted as he pinned Naruto to the wall. What is going on here? Iroh asked as he walked up calmly, trying to figure out what happened with words, not fists. This human here tried to spill my drink, claiming he tripped. The bull shouted. Iroh quirked an eyebrow. He looked at the table and then the floor, seeing a club from one of the Oni on the floor. I see. Iroh said as he looked back to the bull. Can you put my grandson down, and I'll give you a new cup of tea free of charge? The bull thought about it. Okay, just make sure he doesn't do that again, or else the Jasmine Dragon might get an unwanted visit. The bull said as he let Naruto go, dropping him to the ground. Naruto let out a gasp as he was helped up by Iroh. Asshole. Naruto thought as he glared at the bull, who had his back turned to Naruto and Iroh. Naruto, let it go. Iroh said as he held Naruto back. I know it's infuriating, but people like him are going to be everywhere you look. Naruto looked to the ground. Grandpa, can you teach me how to fight? Naruto asked. I want to defend myself. I don't want to be pushed around anymore. Iroh sighed. Naruto, if I do, it will be only to use as self-defense. Iroh stated as he helped Naruto stand. You are not to use it to start a fight. Naruto nodded in understanding. Good, now, let's make some tea. Iroh said with a bright smile. Naruto helped out for a few more hours before his shift ended. I am going to hang with Damamaru, Grandpa. Naruto called as he left. Alright, be back before dark. Iroh called as he took an order. Naruto took a deep breath of the earthy smell of the village he and Iroh lived in. It was several miles away from Kyoto, but still resided in Japan. It was a fisherman town, male and female yokai catching fish and selling them to the inland dwellers. Hey Naruto. Damamaru, age 14, called as he saw Naruto. You finished your shift already? Yeah, Grandpa let me off early today. Naruto said as he hugged the kappa. Neat, what do you want to do today? Damamaru asked as he and Naruto headed towards the pier. I don't know, but Grandpa is going to teach me how to fight after some asshole bull yokai attacked me. Naruto said aggressively. He believes I spilled his tea on purpose, then threw the usual filthy human insult. Damamaru sighed in guilt. I wish there was something I could do to help. Damamaru stated sadly. Naruto nudged Damamaru. You do enough by being my friend, Damamaru. Naruto said with a laugh, being honest. Damamaru smiled. Yeah, you're right. He said, his demeanor cheering up. Naruto, not paying attention, started to run towards the pier, only to run into someone, knocking him and the person over. Naruto, you okay? Damamaru asked as he ran up to Naruto the other person. I am sorry, he wasn't paying attention. No, it is quite alright. The person said, revealing a thick Romanian accent from a young man. I also wasn't paying attention. It's my first time in Japan, so I was looking around, and not where I was going. He had pale skin, bleached blonde hair, and a dark wardrobe that screamed royalty. Naruto and Damamaru knew he wasn't human due to the fangs he had in his mouth. A vampire. They thought as a tall figure stepped up, behind the young vampire. Adrian. The person said in a thicker Romanian accent, but that of an adult. Father. The now named Adrian said as he turned to his dad. The man had pale skin, like his son, but had short-cut black hair and a nicely trimmed goatee and mustache. His clothing was also screamed royalty along with a long rapier at his hip. Are you alright, Adrian? The man asked as he patted his son down, glaring at Damamaru and Naruto. Did they hurt you? No, father, they didn't. Adrian defended. The man looked at Naruto with a questioning look. Boy, would you go by Naruto? He asked, making Naruto blink. How, he asked in fear, wanting to flee. Your grandfather, Iroh, wouldn't stop talking about how cute you are some years ago. The man said as he stood tall. I am Vlad Teeps, and I am the leader of the vampires in Wallachia. I am here to talk to Iroh. Can you take me to him? Why yes, sir. Naruto said shakily. Vlad nodded. Thank you, it is much appreciated. Vlad stated with a scary smile. Well, scary for Naruto and Damamaru as they led Vlad and Adrian to the Jasmine Dragon. Grandpa. Naruto called out as they entered the shop. You have company. Iroh heard this from the kitchen. Who are Vlad, you son of a bitch? Iroh said as he walked up to Vlad and they shook hands. How are you, my old friend? Vlad asked as he chuckled, happy to see Iroh. Adrian, This is an old friend of mine, Iroh, the former leader of Kyoto and one of the great generals. Adrian had stars in his eyes. You really are the great General Iroh who fought for 600 days against the yokai son of Genghis Khan? Adrian asked with enthusiasm. Iroh let out a belly laugh. I did, at one point. Iroh said as he patted Adrian's head. But I am nothing more than a simple tea shop owner. Adrian was still in awe. Adrian, meet my grandson, Naruto Uzumaki. Iroh introduced. Damamaru had returned home, so Naruto was alone as Iroh nudged him towards the vampire prince. Nice to meet you, Adrian said as he held out his hand. Same. Naruto replied, taking Adrian's hand in his. Alright, you two, Iroh said as he took Vlad's coat. You two can go out back and play in the garden, just be careful of the tea plants. Alright, Grandpa, Naruto said as he led Adrian to the back. You were not lying when you said he was a human with chakra, Vlad said as soon as the children were gone. I know, I was in disbelief when I found him, Iroh said as he served tea to Vlad and himself. So, what do we owe the pleasure of your visit, old friend? Meanwhile, Adrian watched as Naruto skipped rocks across the stream that was behind the restaurant. Wow, that is amazing, Adrian said as he watched another rock bounce on the water 7 times before sinking into the water. Not really, Naruto said as he sat down. I am not good at much. Why would you say that? Adrian asked curiously, not understanding why Naruto was sad. I am human, Naruto told Adrian. But I am raised amongst yokai. Adrian got really close to Naruto, stars in his eyes. You are human too? Adrian asked excitedly, making Naruto jump back. Cool, because my mom is human, making me a damper. Cool, what is it like being a damper? Naruto asked, equally excited since he never seen a damper, or a vampire to be honest. It's not bad, I mean, supposedly we are weaker than true-blooded vampires like father, but I believe that strength isn't determined by bloodlines, Adrian stated as he looked to the sky. Naruto looked up too. Hey, can we be friends? Adrian asked Naruto. Of course, Naruto said as he held out his fist for a fist bump. Adrian blinked as he looked at Naruto's fist. You press your fist against it, it's called a fist bump, Naruto explained. Okay, that is interesting, Adrian said as he fist bumped Naruto, both smiling as they threw more rocks into the water. Skip, 5 years, Wallachia. Naruto, age 17, and Adrian, age 18, walked down the street where dead bodies were strewn about everywhere as the two felt sadness as they watched the superstitious humans fearfully live while they exited the city. This is sad, Naruto muttered in fluent Romanian. These people live in fear because of Vampire Lord Bedlam. Adrian nodded. Naruto was wearing a battle kimono with light armor on it while Adrian wore his royal outfit, this time with the heirloom rapier his father gave him. It is sad, which is why we are here to slay Bedlam, Adrian stated as he pointed towards an ominous castle. We shall attack him tonight. He is holding a party, so we can sneak in easily. Naruto nodded. I am worried though, Naruto said in concern. Even if we kill Bedlam, someone else will take his place. Not with what father is setting up, Adrian stated. Naruto didn't ask any questions. He didn't need to. Adrian and Naruto continued their journey to the castle. Meanwhile, in Japan, Iroh was worried as he watched the sky become gray. Something wicked this way comes, Iroh thought as he closed the windows. There is a maelstrom coming, so I need to prepare for the worst. As he started setting up for the impending rainstorm, Iroh's thoughts turned to Naruto. Naruto, please be safe, Iroh thought as he boarded off the windows. As his feet hit the floor, he stopped. It has been a while, he said as he turned to face the person. Tamamo. Skip, Wallachia, night. Naruto and Adrian arrived. How we doing this? Naruto asked as he touched the door. To his surprise, the doors opened at the least bit of pressure applied. An invitation? Maybe, Adrian said as he gripped his sword. Agreed, but we must proceed with caution, Naruto stated. They entered the castle, and were greeted by a servant. Lord Teeps and Mr. Uzumaki, she said with a polite bow. Hilda, Adrian replied with a bow. We are looking for Lord Bedlam. Do you know where he is? Hilda, a beautiful woman with blonde hair and a maid outfit, went silent. Adrian and Naruto noticed the slight twitching of the corner of her mouth, and the collar on her neck emitting weak magical pulses. Lord Bedlam is in the ballroom where the rest of the guests are, Hilda replied as she took Adrian's coat. You must leave your sword here, Lord Teeps. Of course, Adrian replied as he took his weapon from his hip and handed it to Hilda, who hung it up with his coat. This way, please, Hilda said as she guided them to the party. Naruto looked around, seeing the Gothic architecture was very old, befitting the castle and vampire lord motif. We are here, Hilda stated as she grasped a door handle. Please enjoy yourselves. Naruto and Adrian entered the ballroom, seeing men and women dressed in their best as they danced or made conversation with each other to a small orchestra on the stage. I'll get close to Bedlam, wait for my signal, and then make a distraction, Adrian whispered as he took a glass of wine from a server with a tray of wine. Understood, Naruto replied as he took one as well, walking off to watch the crowd and to give him time to gather nature energy if necessary. Hilda closed the door and walked up to Naruto. Are you not going to dance? Hilda asked him, wondering why he would choose to not mingle with the others. Not much of a dancer, Naruto replied as he drank his wine. I could teach you if you want. Hilda offered. Naruto smiled as he shook his head. Thank you, but I must decline. Naruto stated as he looked at Hilda, who was saddened. Naruto saw her lip twitch again. That collar must be sending magic through her neck to keep her in line. Naruto thought as he leaned against the wall as he watched Hilda help serve the guests. We need to kill Bedlam, because he is pissing me off. He watched Adrian closely, who was approached by Bedlam. Adrian, my boy, it has been a dog's age since we last met. Lord Bedlam stated joyfully as he shook Adrian's hand. It is a pleasure to meet you again, Lord Bedlam. Adrian said as he bowed, opposite hand behind him, running his thumb along his index finger. There is the sign. Naruto thought as he gathered nature energy, entering sage mode. At the moment of completion, Naruto threw a smoke bomb into the ceiling, causing it to bust open and cover all light with its chakra-infused power lingering in the air. With quick movements, Naruto maneuvered through the crowd, drawing a kunai, and with a flick of his wrist he stabbed Bedlam in the throat. Rot in hell, you bastard! Naruto thought as he yanked his kunai out. The smoke started to clear, and once Adrian could see, Phase 2 started. You fiend! Adrian shouted, getting everyone's attention as their vision started to clear. How dare you slay Lord Bedlam? Bedlam, who was bleeding out, gasped as Naruto crushed his skull with one well-placed palm slap enhanced by senjutsu. I dare you, filthy vampire! Naruto said, using a transformation jutsu to cover himself to look like a vampire hunter, mainly one of the pesky Belmont clan. Now you can die too if you want. Adrian, angered by the death of Bedlam, used his magic to summon his sword, which shot out of its sheath and through the door to reach his hand. Have at thee. Adrian stated as he entered the basic fencing stance with his rapier. Naruto grinned. Actually, I see I am outmatched. Naruto stated as he saw the vampires realizing what happened to Bedlam, and now getting angry. But here is a parting gift. At this, Naruto threw a flashbang grenade, blinding everyone, including themselves as Naruto dropped the transformation, broke one of the windows, before he ran to Adrian's side. Adrian, you alright, sir? Naruto asked in concern as their vision started to return. Damn it! Adrian shouted in anger as the Belmont got away. I'll avenge you, Lord Bedlam. The vampires in attendance cheered Adrian's declaration, and after several minutes of mourning, they all left, leaving Naruto and Adrian alone with all the servants. As you know, you lost your master, so you are hereby freed from your servitude. Adrian stated as he undid all the collars off of them. Thank you? Resounded throughout the room as they left. All except Hilda, you are free to go. Naruto stated as he and Adrian prepared to leave. Please let me come with you? Hilda begged, bowing deeply. I want to serve the Teeps family. I have no one to return to, so please, let me serve your family. Hilda had no family. All of them having been killed by Bedlam before she was forced into servitude. Are you sure? Adrian asked, watching Hilda stand up straight. Yes. Hilda stated without hesitation. Then welcome to the family. Adrian said as he held out his hand. You shall serve my family. Naruto, since he was still in sage mode, felt Hilda's intense attraction towards Adrian, and smiled as he snickered. Oh, I hope I am the best man. Naruto thought as the three of them left the castle to rot. The death of Bedlam reached all vampires and supernatural factions. It was a loss to some, but cause for celebration for others. However, many saw this as opportunity for battle. It was little concern for the vampire faction in Wallachia. Adrian, welcome home. Vlad expressed to his son as Adrian, Naruto, and Hilda stood before him. And I see your mission was a success, good. It was a cakewalk. Naruto expressed with a laugh as he wiped some sweat off his forehead. Anyway, I got to go home before Gramps gets worried. Naruto turned to Adrian and Hilda with a cheeky grin on his face, which was slightly red. Don't knock her up too fast, Sasuke. Naruto said with his grin as he loosened his battle gear, his body feeling hot. SAS Naruto, who is Sasuke? Adrian asked in confusion. Naruto blinked. Who said Sasuke? Naruto asked before his eyes rolled into his head and he collapsed, his face completely red as sweat trickled down his body as he gasped for air. Get Iroh here now. Vlad shouted at one servant, who took off to retrieve said individual. Get him to the medical wing. Adrian and Hilda grabbed Naruto, and did just that, both feeling the intense heat emitting from his body. What the hell is going on? Adrian thought as they made their way through the castle, Naruto's life hanging on seemingly by a thread. Chapter 3, done. Chapter 4, Memory Overlap. Dream. I stood before a large waterfall, in a golden-orange avatar of a nine-tailed fox with 6 arms and 3 heads, glared at by a boy my age with 2 distinct eyes, one red and black and the other a light lavender with a ripple pattern and 6 tomo in them, while he was within a giant purple Tengu avatar. We were covered in slight injuries, our clothes were tattered, and we were both at the end of our ropes. Sasuke, Naruto, the 2 giants lunged, large-scale attacks in their hands as they clashed. The 2 avatars vanished, leaving us flying towards each other, lightning cracking in my opponent's left hand with a shuriken of wind spinning to life in my right hand. Right as we were 10 feet apart, I thrust my hand forward, extending a chakra arm and slamming my shuriken attack into the lightning my opponent held. Wind beats lightning. Thus, the shuriken sliced through the lightning, cutting his left arm off before hitting him and detonating, the millions of small wind blades cutting his chakra network to nothing. I felt tired as I lost the ability to fly when he fell out of my golden state, falling into the water with the severed left arm. End dream. Naruto opened his eyes before he closed them due to the light, taking his mind off his dream and erasing it from his coherent thoughts. Oh, you're awake. Naruto turned as he opened his eyes and saw familiar amethyst eyes. Tamamo? Naruto asked as he sat up to see that he was in bed naked with Tamamo sleeping next to him naked. Naruto blinked as he took in his surroundings. I'm still in Adrian's home? He questioned as he touched his forehead. Yes, we are in Wallachia. Tamamo, age 16, said as she sat up, making Naruto push off the bed and hit the ground as the blanket fell to reveal Tamamo's naked body to him. It's been so long, Naruto. I really missed you. She had short blonde hair held in a messy bun, small perky B-cup breasts that were complemented by a slim waist and thick butt and thighs. Why are you naked? Naruto asked as he grabbed one blanket to cover himself. We bathed together as children, Tamamo stated as she lay on her stomach, her tail swaying as she giggled at his reaction. So, what is the problem? That's because we were kids. Naruto shouted in embarrassment. Tamamo laughed. You have changed so much, Naruto. Tamamo stated sadly as she grabbed her kimono and started to dress. Naruto sighed as he started dressing also. So, when did you get here? Naruto asked with a mad blush on his face. She came to our village yesterday. Iroh said as he entered the room with a pot of tea, smiling to see Naruto up. When she heard you had collapsed, she insisted on coming with me. Naruto nodded as he sat down and accepted the tea Iroh offered him. What caused me to fall ill, Grandpa? Naruto asked as he looked at his family. Iroh went silent as he sipped his tea, his tails laying on the ground in shame. I am ashamed to admit, but I do not know what brought about this illness, Naruto. Iroh sadly replied, self-disappointment in his eyes as he looked at his tea, unable to look Naruto in the eyes. But I can say this, it was not an ordinary illness. What makes you say that, grandfather? Tamamo asked as she quirked an eyebrow. From what we know, and observing you for the past day and a half, you were muttering. Iroh stated as he looked up at Naruto. Saying names of people we don't know. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto gasped, his dreams slamming through and being brought forth to the forefront of his mind. Sasuke, he said as he gripped his head tightly. Who? He slammed his cup to the table, shattering it in his grip. Naruto! Tamamo shouted, snapping Naruto from his thoughts. What? Your hand. Naruto took notice of his bleeding hand, red from said blood and the hot scalding tea. What is going on with me? Naruto asked in worry. I have never met anyone named Sasuke, yet I can't help but know who they are. Tamamo and Iroh listened, while Iroh cleaned and bandaged Naruto's hand. His hand? Iroh thought as he felt chakra seep through the wound. The chakra was red, and while it was small, Iroh could see the wounds sealing themselves quickly. Much quicker than it should be with Naruto being a human. Anyway, Naruto said as Iroh finished covering his hand. Why were you in our village? You couldn't have known we were there, because I bet Miko would have lied to you. Tamamo pulled back, metaphorically withdrawing into her own shell, and shifted nervously. Actually, Mama told me she banished you. Tamamo said as she rubbed her hands together nervously. She said she wanted you out to keep us safe. To keep you safe, Naruto scoffed. Crazy bitch is lying. Naruto commented as he waved off that notion. There was a silence. Let's get off this topic. Iroh said as he stood up. Let's go for a walk, catch up, and meet the others. I am up for that. Naruto said as he stood up, offering Tamamo a hand. She blushed a bit as she took it. His hands are so rough. She thought as she felt his hand in hers. He has been training for sure. His chakra coils are insane. So, have you mastered Sage Mode yet? Naruto asked bluntly, making Tamamo deadpan. Oh, of course I have. Tamamo snipped as she crossed her arms. I am the princess of Kyoto, so I was able to master it. Naruto laughed at Tamamo. Well, I guess you were able to do it, but did you get it on your first try? Naruto taunted, getting Tamamo to gain a tick mark on her forehead. Iroh laughed as Tamamo grabbed Naruto's cheeks and pinched them. Okay, settle down you two. Iroh chuckled as he stepped between them. We are family, so let's go get some breakfast. Alright. Naruto and Tamamo said in unison as the trio walked to breakfast. Naruto! Adrian said in relief as he saw his best friend awake and on his feet. Sup, Adrian? Naruto smirked as they fist bumped. Don't look at me like that. Adrian smirked. It's an honor to finally meet you, Tamamo. Adrian said as he looked at Tamamo. Naruto wouldn't stop talking about you when we were younger. Hey! Adrian and Tamamo laughed at Naruto's misery as they sat down at the table, Hilda appearing with a small cart full of food before she served it. So you two already a thing? Naruto asked as he noticed Hilda's small glances at Adrian. Hilda and Adrian blushed, making Naruto howl with laughter. Where is Vlad? Iroh asked as he noticed the head of the Teeps family missing. He is sleeping, it is morning, after all. Hilda replied as she poured some tea for Iroh. As a damper myself, I am able to serve Lord Adrian during the day as well as help Lord Teeps during the night. I guess that means afternoon sessions are a thing? Naruto asked smugly, making Hilda blush and drop a plate. Adrian and Iroh hit Naruto in the head, making Tamamo laugh as she helped Hilda clean up. He hasn't changed a bit. Tamamo thought with a bright smile. After breakfast, Naruto, Iroh, and Tamamo returned to Japan, appearing at the Jasmine Dragon. It is such a nice little establishment, Tamamo said as she followed Naruto into the back and up a flight of stairs, where Iroh and Naruto lived, which was above the tea shop. Yeah, it is. Naruto sighed. But sometimes the customers get a bit iffy with the fact I am human. I see. Tamamo whispered, her ears lying on her head as she became sad. So, life hasn't fully changed for him. He is still discriminated against, but the people of this village are kind. Naruto said as he stripped off his armor and put it in its place. I have made friends, if that is what you are worried about. Tamamo froze, eyes wide like a deer in fright. I wasn't. Naruto laughed as he opened his window. I know you worried a lot when we were younger. Naruto said as the light entered the open window, lighting up the room with the chilly morning light. It was a challenge, but with my senjutsu training, the people came to like me more because I am one with nature, so it is a good thing I was born with chakra. Tamamo couldn't help but hug Naruto, surprising him when he found himself in her tight grip. He could feel her shaking, then heard her sniffle a bit. I was so sad. Tamamo stated with watery eyes. When I woke up and saw you and Grandpa were gone, I was destroyed. Naruto felt guilt grip his heart as he leaned in Tamamo, wrapping his arms around Tamamo. I was too. Naruto replied. When Grandpa woke me up when we left, I tried to fight back. I didn't want to leave, but we had to. I am not angry, I never was. Tamamo stated as she looked at him, her watery eyes showing. But I could never forget you, no matter what, because I. Tamamo didn't finish because Naruto kissed her, silencing her with a surprised look before she closed them and passionately kissed him back, her tails wagging excitedly behind her. Skip. Miko read from an old military scroll Iroh had written long before she was born, waiting for Tamamo to finish her business as a diplomat to the neighboring coast villages. She is taking quite a while. Miko thought as she continued to read. Something must have come up. Her ears twitched as she heard the door to the compound be opened by the guards. Putting the scroll to the side, Miko stood up and walked to greet her daughter. Tamamo. Miko called out affectionately as she saw Tamamo. How was the mission? It was surprisingly easy. Tamamo responded as she hugged her mom. We were able to settle the agreement within a few hours. Miko, while happy, critically tilted her head. Then why did it take you overnight to return? Miko asked as she noticed Tamamo's smell. It smelled of tea, jasmine tea to be exact, and her hair smelled that of river water. I had decided to take the night to see the village from the eyes of a citizen. Tamamo stated in a matter-of-fact tone. So, I could settle an agreement that helps the village just as much as it will help us in the capital. Miko smiled proudly. That is perfect. Miko said with a proud smile as she hugged her daughter again. I hope nothing bad happened. Tamamo had to carefully bite her tongue. Mama can't find out I found Grandpa and Naruto. Tamamo thought as she did her best to stay calm, lest her heartbeat go up and alert Miko of foul play. Nothing went wrong. Tamamo stated as she shrugged it off. The head of the village was so kind and wished nothing but the best for all our kind. Skip. Next day, Naruto stood atop the river with Damamaru, both of them sparing on the water to increase their respective chakra reserves and build their control. Kappa? Damamaru shouted as he punched Naruto across the face with senjutsu. Naruto, who was in sage mode himself, flipped, landed on the water on all fours and then launched himself forward, diverting Damamaru's next punch and hitting him. Though his fist missed, the nature energy within him struck the Kappa. Ow! Damamaru shouted as he clutched his face as Naruto did as well. I think that's enough for today, agreed. Naruto gasped as his cheeks swelled. They walked off the water and sat at the edge. So, what is this I heard about a young kitsune coming to your room? Damamaru asked as he nudged Naruto in the side. What did you hear? Naruto asked seriously, not liking the look Damamaru gave him. Oh, nothing much, just the fact you and old man Iroh were seen with her after you returned from Wallachia yesterday. Damamaru said as he laughed. But I wouldn't get hung up on it since it didn't. You mean people say Tamamo? Naruto said in surprise. Damamaru turned to stone. You were with the daughter of Miko. Damamaru shouted as he grabbed Naruto's shoulders and shook him. Naruto pushed Damamaru off of him, his sage mode ending at that moment. It's none of your business, man. Naruto sniffed. Damamaru sighed in defeat. Man, I wish hot girls would flock to me. Damamaru whined. What about that cute Kappa girl with the pink bow? Naruto asked. Damamaru's green scales tinted red. I don't know what you are talking about. He stuttered as he scratched his cheek. Naruto smirked, but didn't push it. However, his mind wandered to his dream from the previous day. That technique? He thought as he remembered the shuriken made of wind chakra that he used against this Sasuke person. The core, it looked like a spinning sphere. He thought as he held out his hand, looking at it. Grandpa said something about my nature being wind a while ago, and he stated chakra shape and chakra nature is advanced, saying I am not ready for it yet. Naruto took a deep breath. But how hard can it be? Naruto thought as he focused his chakra into his hand. Naruto, what are you? Don't distract me, Damamaru. Naruto interrupted through grit teeth as he tried to spin his chakra. The first step teaches you rotation. The second step is about power. Now, the third step is about containing both together without popping the balloon. Naruto stopped as he looked around. What are you looking for? Damamaru asked as he watched Naruto stood up and looked around. Did I just imagine that? Naruto thought as he stopped looking. It has to be, but it makes sense. Naruto raised his hand again, focusing on the center. Come on. Naruto thought as his chakra became visible in his palm. Spin, you bastard. However, instead of spinning, the chakra spun and formed with the lightest thought or effort. It glowed a light blue as the chakra sphere spun in his palm. Whoa, Naruto, how did you do that? Damamaru asked as he shot up to look at the technique. I don't know. Naruto replied as he felt like he knew this ability while he turned to face a tree. He pressed the chakra sphere against it, and it instantly carved through the tree as if it was nothing before it ended. The Rasengan. Naruto whispered as he looked at the damage he caused to the tree. Spiraling sphere, good one. Damamaru said as he looked at his own hand. Damn, you made that look easy, but can you teach it to me? Please? Naruto didn't reply as he looked at his hand. It shook slightly, but a massive sense of nostalgia washed over him. How did I do this? He thought as he turned back to Damamaru. Sure, if I can figure out how, I'll teach it to you. Alright. Damamaru cheered. Naruto walked home and thought, I'm home. Naruto called out to Iroh as he entered the Jasmine Dragon from the back entrance. Welcome back, Naruto. Iroh called from the kitchen, busy brewing tea as a clone prepared some treats that paired well with tea. How was your training? Naruto smiled as he held up his hand. I think I did something interesting. Naruto said as he created a Rasengan before Iroh. Iroh gasped at the jutsu he watched form. Amazing. Iroh said as he got close to see it. How? I just knew. Naruto replied as he ended the jutsu. Just like how I know this Sasuke person. Grandpa, am I normal? I mean, beside having chakra and all, but am I a normal human for sure? Iroh took a second to stroke his beard and thought. I don't know, but this is a sign of change. Iroh replied as he took Naruto's hands. You, Naruto, may be going through a metamorphosis, like the tiny caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Naruto laughed. Maybe, Grandpa, maybe? He laughed as he prepared to help in the tea brewing. 2 weeks later, Naruto, again, was being attacked by a gang of outsider yokai who were not from the fisherman village. What are you, a human, doing here? A snarling spider yokai asked, his pincers clicking as he spoke Japanese. I live here. Naruto spat in anger as he went still. He was hit outside the face by one of the spider's 8 limbs. A cocky one, aren't you? He asked angrily. Naruto smirked. He raised his hands and made a cross-like sign with his fingers. Chakra filling his hands. Shadow clone jutsu. He muttered before dozens of clones appeared. And yes, I am cocky for a reason. Naruto reeled back and slammed his fist into the 8 eyes of the spider, making him scream in pain as the clones jumped at his colleagues. Thank God I had a dream of myself using this technique. He thought as he pushed back his attackers with his clones. Though if they are in dreams, then why do they work? He didn't have time to think before he dodged an axe that was aimed at his head and retaliated by punching the attacker's jaw. The yokai were arrested for attacking Naruto, who was in turn arrested for causing the issue, but got off easy due to everyone in the village knowing Naruto wouldn't start a fight. I am truly amazed. Iroh said proudly as he patched Naruto up with basic herbs and bandages. Those jutsu you dream up are amazing, but remember, you are still human, Naruto. You can't fight and not expect to get injured, especially without using senjutsu. I know, Gramps. Naruto whined as he flinched as Iroh cleaned another wound. But these bigots won't ever learn, especially the out-of-towners like these last ones. Iroh sighed. I know he is right, but he could just dodge their attacks, not attack back. Iroh thought as he pulled out a needle and suture thread. Naruto started to sweat. Oh, come on, don't be a baby. Iroh stated as he threaded the needle. That gash on your arm isn't going HUI. Naruto made a mad dash for the door, but was stopped when Tamamo teleported into the building on top of him. Hello? She said as she realized Naruto was under her foot. Ah, good job, Tamamo. Iroh laughed as he made his way over. Now hold him down, I got to sew up his arm. Alright, Grandpa. Tamamo said as she used her 3 tails to pin his limbs as she sat on Naruto's back. No! Naruto shouted in agony and fear. Skip 2 years. Naruto, age 19, and Tamamo, age 18, stood in the crowd as Adrian, age 21, and Hilda, age 20, stood before everyone, wearing formal wedding attire. Adrian wore his best suit with his sword at his hip, while Hilda wore the most elegant wedding dress a vampire bride could want as she held a large bouquet of flowers, turning around as she prepared to throw it. Hilda threw it as hard as she could, a crowd of female vampires clawing and fighting their way to catch it, but were overpowered by Tamamo, who caught it, a large victorious smile on her face as she jumped off the pile of tired women to lean into Naruto. Guess we are the next to be wed, Naru. Tamamo said with a seductive smirk. Iroh and Vlad watched this, proud for Adrian and Hilda, who were now starting to dance, and Naruto and Tamamo as they kissed, following the now husband and wife in their dance with one of their own. Are you worried? Vlad asked Iroh as they drank wine. The boy and your granddaughter hooking up? I am not. Iroh replied as he watched Naruto and Tamamo dance. I wish them the best of luck. Yashimaru would be proud his daughter is in good hands. Vlad poured more wine. I guess, but for now, let's get drunk and embarrass the newlyweds and the soon-to-be-weds. Vlad declared. All right. Iroh replied enthusiastically as they drank more wine. Chapter 4, done. Chapter 5, Moonlit Romance. Kyoto evening. Miko sat alone in candlelight with an old scroll in her hand. I am Hagoromo Otsutsuki. The man said as he held out his hand, his ripple-pattern eyes piercing through the hearts of all who gazed upon him. Miko read as she read on. I am here to help. Miko pushed her monocle up, pausing in her reading. Amazing. She thought as she reached over and took a drink of tea. To think, we had a legend about a human teaching us yokai about ninjutsu. She read a bit more. Wait a minute. She thought as she put her tea down. Ninsho? What is that? Is that an older form of ninjutsu? From what she remembered, yokai had been using chakra and ninjutsu since the earliest memories of history, so this was new to her. Sort of reminds me of Miko thought, an image of a child Naruto appearing in her mind. No, there can't be a connection to this. Miko shook her head before she continued reading. The sage calmed the hearts of all yokai in Japan, giving them hope to stand against their human repressors. Miko read, anticipation building in her chest as it tightened. He taught the art of senjutsu to those capable, and passed on some of his own chakra to his students, thus yokai evolved further. Miko took a sip of more tea. However, the great Hagoromo Otsutsuki vanished. Miko read, blinking. He left, the only traces of his presence being the teachings and the students he trained. Now, centuries and many generations later, all yokai have a small trace of the Great One's chakra within them. Miko blinked again. That's it. Miko thought as she realized she reached the end. No, there has to be more, like explaining how he had chakra to begin with? Miko rolled the scroll back up before she sighed. Well, it is a legend after all, meaning it probably isn't true. She thought as she poured herself some more tea. Her ears twitched as she heard the doors open. Tamamo. Miko greeted with a warm smile, beckoning her daughter over to her. How was your day? Tamamo shrugged, rolling her eyes. You know, same old thing every day, just new location. Tamamo stated, averting her gaze. That boring, huh? Miko responded. Should I give you a different job then? No, the one I have currently is fine. Tamamo stated, a bit too quickly, which made Miko quirk an eyebrow. Okay, Tamamo, I won't change it. Miko said as she motioned for Tamamo to calm down. Sorry mama, I didn't. Sure, it's okay, sweetie. Miko said as she hugged Tamamo. Go shower, and then go to bed, we have a big day tomorrow. Alright mama. Tamamo said as she hugged her mom, noticing the old scroll on the table. Skip. Naruto stood before Adrian, both wielding fencing foils. Naruto took the first step and thrust his foil at Adrian's head, only to have it parried and Adrian's blade at his throat. Good start, but you lack the strength to keep your blade on point. Adrian pointed out. Naruto frowned before he closed his eyes. Orange pigment surrounded his now toad-like eyes. Let's see if this makes a difference. Naruto stated as they prepared again. Naruto once again thrust his blade. However, when Adrian went to parry, Naruto stopped, rolled his wrist so the sword went under Adrian's, successfully clipping 2 strands of Adrian's hair as he tilted his head. That does make a big difference in your reaction time, Naruto. Adrian said proudly as he and Naruto started again. This time, I won't hold back, my friend. Alright, let's see how far we can go. Naruto replied as he readied his foil. You asked for this? Adrian stated as he vanished. Naruto spun around and blocked Adrian's slash. Good reflex. But can you block me in rapid succession? Adrian taunted as he pulled back and thrust his foil 13 times seemingly in an instant, only 3 of them being blocked while large welts covered Naruto's upper body. God, this fucking hurts. Naruto complained as he hit the floor in pain, his sword on the ground. Adrian chuckled as he helped his friend up. You asked for lessons, and I told you I would be hard on you. Adrian reminded him. Yeah, I know. Naruto answered as he stood up, grabbing his foil. Again, Adrian smirked at Naruto's determination. Hilda, meanwhile, watched as Adrian taught Naruto swordsmanship, a bright smile on her face as she watched her husband and his best friend train together. Now all that is left is for Naruto to marry Tamamo, and then we can be like this forever, Hilda thought before she froze. Forever, huh? Naruto was human, 19 years old at this point. He had a handful of more decades before he would become old, and eventually die. Would Adrian and Tamamo be able to handle that loss? Hilda thought in worry as she watched Adrian beat Naruto again, giving him instruction on how to be better. I swear if this was anything else, I would beat you. Naruto huffed as he was helped up, his arm numb. Adrian laughed and pushed Naruto's arm back in place, it having been dislocated, making Naruto's eyes water. I bet, but when it comes to swords I will win every time. Adrian declared. I will surpass you, eventually. Naruto stated as he grabbed his sword. That is a promise, and I never go back on them. Alright then, give me your best shot. Adrian said as he poised with his sword. That night, Naruto winced as Tamamo applied ointment to his bruises. I know you are training to become strong, but you need to take it easy and learn your limits, Naru. Tamamo stated as she covered some nasty swelling with bandages. I can't stop, I have to get stronger. Naruto replied as he clenched his functioning hand in a fist. I am at a severe disadvantage against everyone, so I have to work harder to catch up. Tamamo smiled as she pulled him close and kissed him. I know, but for now, you need your rest, Naru, she said as she pulled back, gently pushing him to his bed. I'll be back in the morning. Good night, Naru. Good night, Tama, I love you. Naruto replied softly, knowing she would hear him as he closed his eyes to sleep. Tamamo walked downstairs to the tea shop, ready to leave before she stopped as she saw Iroh exit the kitchen as the last patron left, meaning the shop was closed. Come here, Tamamo. Iroh motioned as he sat down. I want to talk before you go. Of course, grandfather. Tamamo replied as she sat down. Iroh was starting to look his age, nearing 950 years old. His once black hair and fur was now gray, his body out of shape, and he had a big belly. You know I support you, he said wisely with a smile as the candle light flickered across the room. With your relationship with Naruto, I mean. Tamamo nodded. I want to know, what would you do if Naruto died? Iroh asked, lighting striking as he asked as it started to rain in a downpour. Tamamo's eyes were wide, pupils dilated. What? She stammered. Iroh, despite all his years of constant use of a calm face in the enemy called adversity, was not calm as he gripped his hands tightly. I have had to accept Naruto is mortal, thus his lifespan is limited, compared to ours. Iroh stated as it pained him to think of losing his grandson. But have you, Tamamo? When Naruto dies, what will you do? Tamamo looked down, not at her hands or legs, just looked down as she racked her brain, ears drooping as her tails hid under her chair. I can see you haven't thought about it, Iroh said sadly as he kept his tears at bay. Tamamo shook her head. When Naruto dies, she said as she looked up with a dead expression. Then I'll kill myself so I won't be alone. That's rash. Iroh mentioned. If your mother is gone and you are empress, and you die, then who will lead us? If you have a child, will you willingly orphan them because you lost Naruto? I don't care. Tamamo interrupted softly, clutching her chest. Life without the man I love is worse than death. Surely, Grandpa, you had the same thoughts when Grandma passed away. It was Iroh's turn to retreat within himself as he remembered not only his wife, but Luten and Yashimaru. You are right, I did, but I pulled through because your mother and uncle needed me, Iroh stated as he stood up and hugged his granddaughter. I'm sorry, please forgive me. All is forgiven, Tamamo replied as she tightly hugged her grandfather. They hugged in silence for a good while before they separated. Grandfather, if Naruto dies, a piece of me will die as well, Tamamo stated as she felt her heart twist at the thought of losing Naruto. But if I was to, her hand moved to her stomach. Iroh smiled and took her hand, knowing what she meant by that gesture. Next day, have a good day, Naruto said as he waved a customer of the Jasmine Dragon out before he entered to help the newest customer. Iroh watched Naruto as he interacted with the customers. All the regulars are here, he thought as he brewed multiple pots of tea with his flames. Meaning trouble is on the way. Sure enough, an Oni appeared. Hello, sir, welcome to the Jasmine Dragon, Naruto greeted with a smile. Please sit at any vacant table and I'll be there shortly with a menu. Huh? The Oni muttered as he saw Naruto. What the fuck is this? A human in a yokai village? Oh boy, here we go, Iroh thought as he started to exit the kitchen. Yes, I am human, sir, Naruto admitted, opening his eyes as he entered sage mode. But I am actually a toad Hanayo, so please, don't be hostile because of my mixed heritage. The Oni and everyone blinked. He is lying. The regulars thought in fear, mentally praying nothing happened to Naruto, knowing he was not afraid to start a fight. Fine, just don't get your human stink on my cup. The Oni shrugged. I don't like the taste of humans, since I am a vegetarian. Of course, sir, Naruto said as he walked away, not as irritated as he thought he would. Honestly surprised he is a vegetarian. Naruto walked to the back and handed out several servings before taking the Oni's order. Iroh smiled brightly as he returned to the kitchen. He has matured so much, Iroh thought as he brewed the tea. Grandpa, one jasmine tea with a single spoon full of sugar, Naruto called out as he leaned into the kitchen. You got it, Iroh replied with a laugh, making Naruto smile as he sensed customers enter. Hey Adrian, Hilda, Naruto said as he turned and saw his friends in casual wear. What would you like to order? Oh, we aren't here to eat, Adrian said as he had a smirk on his face. We are here to ask you to come with us for a while. If Lord Iroh allows this at least. He looked at Iroh. Sure, Naruto can go, Iroh answered as he removed the teapots, the other tea brewers coming to help pour and take them out. We got this, Naruto, so go have fun with them. You sure? Naruto asked in concern. Sure, I'm sure, Iroh replied as he made a pushing motion. Now go get changed and go with your friends. Okay, I will, Naruto said as he faced Adrian and Hilda. I'll be right back. Take your time, we will be out front, Hilda said as they walked out while Naruto went upstairs, quickly changed, and left after saying goodbye to Iroh. So, why did you want me to hang with you guys? Naruto asked as he dropped his sage mode while he walked beside Hilda and Adrian. Oh, we want to hang out, but it was her idea. Hilda explained as she pointed down the street. Naruto turned and blushed. Tamamo stood, alone, patiently waiting for Adrian and Hilda to return. She wore a beautiful gold and black yukata, and had her hair up in a decorative floral pin and clips. Hey, you made it! Tamamo shouted with a smile as she waved at the trio. Go on, Naruto. Hilda urged. Naruto didn't move as he stared dumbly at Tamamo. She is gorgeous, he thought as he stared. Hello? Earth to Naruto. Adrian said as he poked Naruto in the ribs with his sword still sheathed. Hey! Naruto snipped as he pushed the blade away. Go on, stupid. Adrian stated as he used his enhanced strength and pushed Naruto towards Tamamo. Hey, sorry I'm late. Naruto replied stupidly, trying to figure out what to say. But why are you here? Tamamo laughed right in his face, making him scowl with a blush. Mama sent me on a 2-month-long mission, so before I go, I wanted to see you, she said as she grabbed his arm and leaned into him, ears on his shoulder. Come on. Let's go get some food, she declared happily as she dragged Naruto forward with Adrian and Hilda behind them. They walked for a few minutes, many yokai bowing to Adrian and Tamamo as they walked. Hey, Naruto. Damamaru called out as he hauled a large net full of fish out of the water. Sup, Damamaru? Naruto said as he fist bumped his friend. How is your Rasengan training? Damamaru deflated. Not well, I can't get it to spin correctly. Damamaru reported. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to teach you as I don't know how I even know it. Naruto apologized. Naruto, who is this? Tamamo asked, having never met Damamaru yet. Oh, right. Naruto said, getting chuckles from the vampires, giving them a glare. Tamamo, this is my friend Damamaru. Damamaru, this is my girlfriend, Tamamo. Damamaru blinked before he jumped back and bowed on the ground. It is nice to meet you, Princess of Kyoto, he said nervously as he carefully bowed to his ruler. Okay, none of that please. Tamamo begged. Damamaru nodded and returned to his work, not wanting to get yelled at by his dad, letting the four leave and enter a nice restaurant. Ah, this fresh sushi is so good, Hilda declared as she chewed the sushi, tears slipping from her eyes in happiness as she drank her sake. I know, the fish here is always fresh due to the Kappa's magic keeping it fresh, Naruto said as he held up one sushi roll as he drank from his glass. It is an advantage yokai have above human cooking. So, you saying my mother's cooking is bad? Adrian asked, slightly sloshed with a cold tone and a threatening glare. What? No, Lisa's cooking is delicious, Naruto replied in a rush, spilling his sake and making the women laugh at him. So, how is the marriage? Tamamo asked Hilda as she swallowed her food. Hilda blushed, lifting her hands and pushing her index fingers together in embarrassment. It's amazing, difficult, with Lord Vlad planning on retiring soon, but I am very happy even with the difficulties, Hilda replied as she glanced at her husband, who was poking fun at Naruto. When are you and Naruto going to get married? Skip, 2 months later. Tamamo, who was with the leader of the Ainu tribe of Japan, stood in the restroom area. I haven't had my period for over a month, she thought in fear as she shook. And I have been feeling sick every morning for 4 weeks. Lady Tamamo, we are ready to go, her guide called out. All right. Tamamo responded, putting on a brave face. Please let this be some sick bodily joke. She stepped out. First, before we return home, we are going to Ayane fishing village, Tamamo stated as she got in the Japanese-style carriage. Naruto, please be there. I'm scared. Chapter 5, done. Chapter 6, Night of Rain and Fire. Ayane Village, Jasmine Dragon. It was raining heavily and there was thunder, so the tea shop was closed, and thus it was vacant except the 2 owners of the shop. Come on, Gramps. Naruto whined as he and Iroh played a game of pie show. Iroh didn't verbally respond, just smiled as he sipped his tea and ate one of his sweets. He looked over the board for a few more minutes before making his move. Finally, Naruto thought as he moved one of his pieces, taking 2 of Iroh's. He is getting better, but Iroh thought with a smirk as he moved his final piece. I win, grandson. Naruto blinked and looked at the board. Sigh that you did, Gramps, Naruto said in defeat as he shook Iroh's hand. One more game? Of course, I'll take every challenge so I can defeat you. Iroh laughed as they reset the game. Knock knock, we are closed, please come back tomorrow, Iroh called out as he set up his pieces. Grandpa, it's me, Tamamo, said Kitsune called through the door. I got it, Naruto said as he bolted towards the door, making Iroh smile. Naruto had a vibrant smile on his face as he opened the door enough to let a soaking wet Tamamo in. Please, go take a shower to warm up, we will make you something to eat, Naruto said after he gave her a quick kiss on the cheek. I will. But Tamamo said nervously as she avoided Naruto's gaze. Tamamo, what is wrong? Iroh asked as he stood up and checked his granddaughter over. You aren't sick, are you? Tamamo shook her head. No, I'm not sick, she stammered as she shook from fear and the cold. Then what is going on? Naruto asked with worry. Tamamo teared up as she bit her lip, cupping her hands tightly. I'm pregnant, she stated, eyes tightly closed, her ears flat against her head with her tails between her legs shivering. She weakly opened her eye, and then opened the other when she saw the look of surprise and absolute joy in Iroh and Naruto's eyes. I'm going to be a daddy," Naruto said as he knelt down. "Tamamo, will you marry me?" Tamamo gasped as she watched him pull out a ring. It was a simple European wedding ring, with a small gemstone on a silver band. Yes, yes, Tamamo cried as she allowed him to put it on her finger before she hugged his head into her breast. "Congratulations, you two," Iroh said as he hugged his grandchildren. "Thank you, grandfather," Tamamo replied as she cried tears of joy while Naruto stood up and joined in the hug, both men ignoring the fact they were getting wet from the rainwater still on Tamamo. "Okay, before we celebrate, you need to go warm up, young lady, especially now," Iroh urged as he pushed Tamamo towards the bath. "Okay, grandfather, I will," Tamamo replied as she wiped away her tears before heading upstairs. Iroh felt pride beat in his chest before he looked at Naruto. "I can't believe it," Naruto said with his smile still present on his face as he pressed his hands together as he sat down. "I'm going to be a dad, and I'm getting married soon." Iroh patted Naruto on the shoulder. "It's all a part of life, my dear grandson," Iroh stated with a wide smile. "It is now about taking each step one at a time and being there for your partner and child." Iroh's smile lost some of his brightness. "I know I failed as a father, because I left my daughter alone when I should have been there for her," Iroh muttered, guilt wrecking his heart. "But if you did, then I would not have been the person I am today, Gramps," Naruto said as he hugged Iroh. "Without you, I would have never met Tamamo or lived long enough to have this chance." "You're right," Iroh said as he hugged Naruto. "You are right. Love you, old man," Naruto said as he separated from Iroh. "Love you too, but I am still going to destroy you in Pai Sho," Iroh mocked as he reminded Naruto of their game. "Oh, those are fighting words," Naruto stated. Next day, Naruto woke up, Tamamo on top of him, both naked in his room. Carefully, Naruto shifted his arms to hold Tamamo, his hand going up and down her back, making her three tails wag from the sensations. He smiled as he heard her purr in his arms. "I'll go back to sleep," Naruto thought as he closed his eyes again. Dream. I looked on with envy, everyone with their friends and family as I sat alone at the swing. Why can't I have that? I thought as I saw the joy my classmates had when seeing their parents. Why am I all alone? The scene changed and I stood before an old man who wore a white robe with a square hat that was red and white with the kanji for fire on it. "Old man," I asked desperately with tears in my eyes, looking him dead in his. "Why don't I have any parents? Why am I not loved?" The pain in his eyes. I could see it, but I couldn't. I could see that he knew why and could have told me. I could not see it, nor could I have thought he knew anything. "Your parents died the night the Kyuubi attacked," the old man said with a slight crack in his voice as he turned around, making it so I could no longer see his face. "But I can say that they did love you, Naruto." The scene changed again. I was older, and I was wearing an orange jumpsuit, and I wore green goggles on my head as a man with silverish blue hair stood above me while I held a giant scroll. "You are the Kyuubi who attacked the village," he shouted at me. I could feel my heart break, tears staining my eyes as I ran, wiping them away, only for them to come back when a man with a scar across his nose fought him. "Naruto is an excellent shinobi," he said as the traitor went to kill him, before I stepped in. Once again, the scene changed, and I stood on a bridge, my body filled with pain as needles were puncturing my flesh as I was enclosed in a dome of reflective ice. In my arms was the same person I fought at the waterfall, but he was younger, and he too had needles riddling his body. "I am sorry, but he is dead," my opponent said from within the ice. I felt sadness and anger bubble in my gut as I let out a roar. "Naruto!" And Dream. Naruto opened his eyes, Tamamo next to him with a look of concern. "Baby, what's wrong?" she asked in concern. "Yeah," Naruto said as he sat up, feeling his heart racing. "It has been a while since this happened, but I know them." "You were muttering names in your sleep again," Tamamo replied in concern, the blanket covering her body. Naruto looked at his fiancée. "I don't know, but I had a dream I think, and I saw people and events play out with my eyes," Naruto said in confusion. "I don't know what these are, but I don't like it." Tamamo took his hand and leaned into him, comforting him. "It's okay, sweetheart," Tamamo whispered. "You can talk to me or Grandpa." Naruto leaned into Tamamo's breasts, feeling at ease with her. "Okay," Naruto said as he recounted his dreams, including the one with the mysterious Sasuke. Meanwhile, Miko paced in her throne room. "Where is she?" Miko thought with worry. Tamamo should have been back by now. Miko sensed someone approaching, and regained her composure. "Lady Miko," the yokai said, one of Tamamo's guards. "I have some bad news." "What is it?" Miko asked. The man was afraid. His body shook slightly while he swallowed the lump in his throat. "Your daughter is pregnant, and the father is Naruto," he said. He was drowned in the flood of Miko's power as she stared at the wall, in sage mode, still as a board. "Get Dr. Aizo in here, now," Miko ordered darkly to the guard. "Why yes, ma'am," he said, bowing before he rushed out. Miko's eyes became cold as she crossed her arms before her. "I have to protect my people," Miko thought as she looked out the window, seeing the land of Kyoto. "I must protect my family." Several minutes passed in silence before Aizo entered the throne room. "You wanted to see me, Lady Miko?" Aizo asked, Nervousness shone on his face. My daughter is pregnant, Miko stated bluntly. And the child is the offspring of that human father picked up. I need you to get rid of the child when Tamamo returns. Aizo's eyes were wide. He, as a horse yokai and a doctor, had heard and done many things one could think of as unethical. But after he became a doctor, he chose to never kill another being. And now, at this moment, his empress was ordering to kill an unborn child. But we haven't done enough testing in this type of procedure. Your daughter will go through intense pain and agony. Aizo stuttered, trying to talk Miko out of it. There is a 45% chance of her living, and a 60% chance of permanent internal damage, making her infertile. You refusing my orders? Miko asked, shadow casted over her face, her monocle reflecting light. Aizo bit his lip. I am. Aizo said as he turned his back. I won't kill a child. Miko sighed. So be it. She muttered. Next thing Aizo knew, he was tackled to the ground, Miko overpowering him with her senjutsu-enhanced body. Once he was pinned and struggling, Miko raised her hand, brimming with chakra. No! Aizo shouted as Miko grabbed his face, her chakra entering Aizo's body, making him scream in pain. This is the strongest genjutsu I have. Miko thought as Aizo calmed down, his eyes glazed over. Now will you do as I told? Yes, Lady Miko. Aizo replied in a dull response. Miko removed herself from Aizo, ending her sage mode as she sat down. Go prepare for the procedure. Miko ordered. Aizo bowed and walked away. Internally, he was screaming at his body to stop moving, attempting to fight against Miko's genjutsu. But he couldn't stop it. Next day, Tamamo rode in her carriage, seeing the border to Kyoto. Please let this work. She mentally prayed as she touched the bangle on her wrist. Flashback. Wearing this shall conceal the scent of your pregnancy to your mother. Iroh said as he placed the bangle on his granddaughter's wrist as she prepared to leave. Thank you, Grandpa? Tamamo said as she hugged him goodbye. And flashback. Tamamo touched her stomach, anxiety bubbling next to her child the closer she got to the capital. We will be in the capital in 20 minutes, Lady Tamamo. One of the guards with her carriage informed her. Thank you? Tamamo replied with a soft smile. The next 20 minutes were spent in fear as Tamamo drew closer to home. The compound was eerily silent as Tamamo exited the carriage. Tamamo entered and walked to the throne room, where Miko was most likely going to be. Mama? Tamamo called out as she cracked open the door to peer in. Enter. Miko replied. Tamamo entered. Mama, I am home. Tamamo said as she bowed. Miko didn't respond. Tamamo was overcome with fear at the silence. So it is true then. Miko said as she sensed said fear. You have been tainted by that human. Tamamo snapped straight up in disbelief. How did she know? Tamamo thought as she took a step back. Miko didn't move at all, but her piercing gaze as she held a pipe in her hand. I can't allow this, she said as she tapped the pipe, emptying the tobacco from the bowl. Mama, please, listen, Tamamo started to say before she was grabbed by two yokai. I'm sorry, Princess Tamamo, but you have to come with us. One of them said. Hey! Tamamo shouted as she struggled against the guards as they pulled her out of the room. Mama! Miko lit the new set of tobacco in her pipe, taking a deep inhale of smoke, holding it, before she exhaled as she ignored her daughter's cries. Tamamo was pulled into the medical wing of the compound, making her eyes widen. No, she thought as she struggled more as she was lifted up and strapped to the table. Keep her still. Tamamo gasped as she saw Aizo, the family doctor, loomed over her. Aizo, please don't. Tamamo begged with tears in her eyes. Preparing anesthetic. Aizo said, ignoring her. Internally, Aizo was crying. Please, forgive me. Aizo thought as his eyes teared up, which Tamamo saw. I don't want to do this. Body, don't do it. Tamamo felt someone touch her head, feeling warm and fuzzy as she fell asleep. Procedure start. Aizo said as his hands, covered in healing chakra, touched her stomach before sinking into her flesh. 2 days later. Hey! Someone shouted as they entered the Jasmine Dragon. Iroh, what is it? Iroh asked, getting Naruto's attention as he took a customer's order. There is some drunk ranting and causing trouble in the plaza. The yokai stated out of breath. Please, can you and Naruto deal with it? We will look into it. Naruto makes some clones because we are going out. Iroh called out as he took off his apron. Alright, Grandpa. Naruto called back as he gave the order to the other workers in the kitchen before taking off his own apron. So, what is going on? Naruto asked as he and Iroh made their way to the plaza. There is someone causing trouble in a drunk state. Iroh told him. They want us to deal with them. Sucks we don't have any law enforcement. Naruto stated sarcastically. Iroh rolled his eyes as they entered the plaza, hearing the drunk man's ranting. Dr. Aizo? Naruto asked as he recognized the horse yokai with a bottle of sake rapidly draining into Aizo's throat. Aizo mumbled as he heard his name, seeing Iroh and Naruto. The bottle shattered as he dropped it. Narir he slurred as he teared up, swaying as he walked towards them before he face-planted into the dirt. He gripped the ground as he let out a howl of emotional loathing. I'm sorry! He shouted as he tearfully and snottily looked up at Iroh and Naruto, who were trying to help Aizo up. I didn't want to do it. Aizo, get it together. Iroh said in irritation. Aizo pushed off of Iroh and Naruto, shakily walking before he slammed into a cart. No, I can't, he muttered as he stood back up. I don't deserve forgiveness. Aizo? Iroh asked as he kept Naruto from getting closer. Aizo said as he brokenly looked at Iroh. Tamamo, her baby Miko made me do it. Naruto grabbed Aizo. What about the baby? Naruto shouted angrily. Naruto, let him go. Iroh ordered. Aizo hit the ground again, sprawled out. She made me do it, he repeated. She made me kill the child inside her womb. The world metaphorically froze over for Iroh and Naruto as those words hit their ears. Aizo, it's okay. Iroh said calmly as he reached out to his friend. You just need to rest. Aizo choked up, eyes tightly closed. No, he said as he held up his hand, glowing with green chakra. I have taken too many lives. Wait! Iroh shouted as Aizo slashed his own throat. The plaza went silent as everyone watched this. Okay, that is enough. This isn't a show. Naruto shouted, making everyone to get back to their own business as law enforcement arrived and picked up Aizo's body. Grandpa. Naruto said as he followed Iroh. I am going to Kyoto. I know, but you won't go alone. Iroh said as he and Naruto returned to the Jasmine Dragon. But first, we need to get an ally. That evening, Kyoto. Tamamo sat in the corner of her cell in the fetal position, arms hugging her legs into her as her tails were wrapped around her arms. You will understand. Miko said from the other side of the cell. I know you will, dear. Tamamo's death stare didn't change, nor did she respond to her mother's words. Her eyes had lost the light that had shown any sign of life. Miko sighed. I'll be back tomorrow with breakfast. Miko stated as she left. Lady Miko. A bird yokai shouted through the window. Bad news. Lord Iroh and 2 others are at the border. Father is here? Miko thought in surprise, eyes wide before they narrowed. Who are the other 2? One is a blonde-haired human, and the other is apparently a vampire with a long sword. The yokai stated. Naruto and Vlad's brat. Miko thought. Tell the guards to let them in. We don't want any civilian casualties, but when they get to the compound, we shall ambush them. Of course, my lady. The yokai said as he took off to inform his comrades. So, it is finally time. Miko thought as she headed toward the throne room. I will correct my mistake. Outside the compound, you know this is a trap, right? Adrian said as he followed Iroh and Naruto approach the compound. If no one has attacked us yet, that is the only thing that makes sense. It is. Naruto said as he used his senjutsu sensing. There is a large cluster of yokai in the compound. It doesn't matter. Iroh stated as he was ready for battle. He wore the armor he wore during his time as emperor. Naruto wore his light armor, similar to Iroh's, just not as ornate. Adrian, meanwhile, wore his casual leather clothing. We aren't planning on fighting. Iroh continued. We are going to break in, grab Tamamo, and run. That's it. Adrian smirked. Fine with me. He said as he mentally prepared himself for battle while they entered the building. The doors closed behind them. So you came? Iroh frowned as he saw the captain of the guard standing before them. Adrian, Naruto, you 2 go ahead. I'll take care of him. Iroh stated as he entered his sage mode. Adrian and Naruto didn't verbally acknowledge Iroh, but obeyed him. The man smirked. As if you think I would let you go. He said as he swung his arms around him, lightning crackling to life at his fingertips and then pointed them at Naruto. As the lighting shot towards Naruto, Iroh appeared, fingers pointed as the lightning struck it like a lightning rod, entering Iroh's body as he moved his arms across his body, channeling it through him, avoiding his heart before redirecting it at the captain, who avoided it. Go. Iroh repeated, making Naruto and Adrian leave. That was a low blow, even for you, Ozai. Ozai smirked as he discarded his uniform, leaving him bare-chested. I know, but I don't care, Dragon of the East. Ozai stated as he punched fire at Iroh, who used his own fire to block it. You have always been a hothead. Iroh said as he and Ozai faced off. As this was going on, Adrian and Naruto ran through the compound. The cells are this way. Naruto said as he felt Tamamo's chakra signature amongst the many guards. Adrian sighed as he pushed Naruto out of the way as 4 yokai impaled the ground with their spears. You can keep going, Naruto. Adrian said as he drew his sword, letting it hover around him with magic. I won't be long. Fine. Naruto said as he kept going. I need to be more aware now. You won't get, one of the guards said before his throat was slit open by Adrian's sword. Focus on me, because I am your opponent. Adrian said as he caught his sword, opting to be somewhat fair against them. One guard thrust his spear forward. Adrian parried, before spinning around and pushing back the second attacker. Is this your best? Adrian asked as he evaded the third guard who attacked from above by turning into a white wolf, sword in his mouth. He jumped up and off the third guard, his head turning to the side, forcing his blade through the first guard's throat. Reinforcements. He thought as he pulled out his sword and reverted back to human form, sword in hand as many more guards appeared. I guess I need the workout. Meanwhile, Tamamo leaned against the wall. Her cheeks were stained with dried tears as she looked on, only a blanket covering her as her ears lay flat against her head. Tamamo internally felt dirty. She felt incomplete. She felt lost. Tama, what am I going to do? she thought in defeat as she hugged her legs tighter. Tamamo, she slowly tilted her head towards the bars. Na Neru? She asked weakly, her eyes regaining some life as she saw Naruto. Tamamo, what happened? Naruto asked, shaking his head. Never mind, tell me later, first we need to get you out of here. He stepped back with his hand extended behind him. Rasengan! He stated as he slammed the jutsu into the lock, the metal rending it before it was destroyed. Come on, let's go! Tamamo shook her head, pulling the blanket over her tighter. No, I can't, she said in defeat. Tama, I know what happened, Naruto said as he walked into the cell, slowly making his way to her, seeing her attempt to shrink into the shadows more. Aizo told Gramps and I before he killed himself. Tamamo bit her lower lip as fresh tears swelled up in her eyes. Naruto watched her stand up, dropping the blanket to reveal her nude form to him. Across her stomach were surgical scarring, turning her once cream-toned flesh into horrid shades of red, due to them still healing though the flesh had sealed over. Do you think you could still love me? She asked him in anger and fear. Do you want me after what he did? Aizo may have not been doing it of his own accord, but he killed our baby. I can't have children anymore. Naruto hugged her. I love you, he said as he reached up and ran his hand through her golden hair. I know it's painful, but I am here for you. Whatever is burdening you, I shall take it on my shoulders and bear it with you. Tamamo hugged Naruto back, her legs feeling weak after everything as she cried into her fiancé's body. Now, let's get Naruto started to say before he went quiet, his eyes narrowing. What do you want, Miko? Tamamo gasped as she saw her mother standing outside the bars, no emotion expressed on her face as she smoked while Naruto gently picked her up and placed her on the bed. I sense someone disturbing my daughter after her surgery, Miko replied as she exhaled, a bellow of smoke filling the air. I didn't expect it to be you, but this just shows me that I was mistaken in letting you go with just a banishment. Means I was soft. I won't repeat myself this time. Neru, you have to run. Tamamo panicked as she gripped his hand. Please forget. She stopped when Naruto patted her head. It's okay, I won't leave, he said with confidence. Neru, no, don't, Tamamo said before Naruto walked out of the cell and faced Miko. That is rude, Miko said as she glared at Naruto. Making such a declaration of false hope when you know it will hurt her more when I kill you. Naruto smirked as he refilled his sage mode. You know, Miko. There is just one thing I want to know, Naruto said as he glared back. What the fuck is wrong with you? Sure, humans have hunted demons and yokai, and in turn this created a cycle of vengeance and hatred, but I never did anything to you for you to do what you did to your daughter. Miko didn't immediately respond before she laughed maliciously, her hand on her forehead as she laughed as if she was told the funniest joke. She did this for a minute before calming down, her smile still on her face. You'd never understand, Miko stated as she took another hit from her pipe. You know our history with humans, and accurately guessed why, but the day I lost Yashimaru. Her smile vanished as she dropped her pipe, which clattered to the ground, while she entered sage mode, dwarfing Naruto's power with her connection to the Lee lines. I lost my sanity, she stated as her tribal markings finished appearing, a maniacal grin on her face showing her fangs. I'm batshit insane kid, now die. Naruto felt her hand engulf his face as she thrust him through the walls and out of the compound. Strong, he thought as he felt her stop before she threw him into several trees. Can't beat me, human, Miko cackled. As long as we are in Kyoto, my power will never cease to grow thanks to the Lee lines put here by the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto blinked. Sage of Six Paths, he thought as he got up. An image of an old man, white skin, long gray beard, with horns and ripple pattern eyes appeared in his head. Naruto shook his head, summoning a few clones to hide and gather nature energy for his sage mode. Oh, you can still stand even after that, human? Miko taunted as she stepped up to him. Naruto spat blood out of his mouth and a few teeth. Of course, I've been in brawls much worse at that, Naruto replied as he confronted her. Miko grinned harder. Good, I want to make you suffer, Miko stated as she charged at Naruto, who reacted faster than she thought he could and caught her extending arm, twisted it, and flipped her over, his right hand above forming his jutsu. Rasengan! Naruto shouted as he slammed it into the ground, Miko having vanished. Not bad. What a technique you got there, Miko exclaimed from the trees. I wonder where you learned that from. Surely, my dear father didn't teach you, not his style. She looked towards the compound, a small frown on her face. Seems Ozai and father are fighting, she said, knowing it was true due to the fact a chunk of her home was burning to the ground. She returned her gaze to Naruto, to see him and several shadow clones closing in. She grinned. Useless, she said as she expelled a dome of chakra, destroying all his clones and pushing Naruto away. Damn it, Naruto thought as he latched onto the tree. I can barely get close now. She has seen the Rasengan, and won't let me get in to use it. What can I do? I think I'll use that as it has been a while, Miko said as she jumped to the ground gracefully, clapping her hands together. Be grateful, Naruto. Only those deserving have seen this. Naruto gasped as he watched Miko transform into her fox form. Though she was not the size of a large fox, it was gigantic. She was the size of a small mountain, senjutsu oozing from her body as her golden fur shined in the evening light, which was nearing its end as darkness consumed the land. Iroh, meanwhile, restrained Ozai with the help of Adrian. Thank you, but we must hurry, Iroh stated as he sensed Miko using the Li lines to strengthen herself even more. Of course, General Iroh, Adrian replied with slight sarcasm. I have never seen him like this before. But I am also worried about Naruto. They doused the fire as fast as possible before taking off into the woods. Naruto, Iroh thought as he ran as fast as his old body allowed. Please, I can't lose you too. Adrian ran as fast as he could and stopped, eyes wide as he saw Naruto get impaled with one of Miko's claws. Oh, you are here, father? Miko chortled in her fox form. Sorry for the mess, but you know me, she flicked Naruto off her claw. I always make a mess. Naruto hit the ground, his clones popping as he did, his chakra disrupted as he started to bleed out and was gasping. Naruto! Iroh shouted in anger. TSK, stay out of this! Miko stated as she tapped the ground with one of her tails. The earth pulsed and instantly, a thick wall of stone appeared around Miko and Naruto, encasing them in a barricade. Tamamo, Naruto thought as he coughed up blood. Grandpa Adrian. His eyes became heavy as they started to close, seeing Miko step into his vision. So long, Naruto, she said as she raised her paw, intending to smash him into paste. She brought her hand down, only for her paw to be stopped. Sand? She thought as a dome of sand covered Naruto, protecting him. What did he do? Naruto, meanwhile, felt the sand fall lifeless against his body. God, can I die in peace? He thought as he gripped his stomach, blood seeping through his fingers as he felt himself slipping further into death. Naruto was surrounded by 3 clones. He was the core. One spun the chakra to create the rotation and power. The second added wind. Once he got the balance, he formed his Rasengan into a new jutsu. Wind. Naruto thought as he closed his eyes. No matter, Miko said as she sensed no chakra within the sand. Enjoy the afterlife, Naruto. Naruto evaded, jumping on the wall and up to the rim. What is he doing? Miko thought as she watched him. He can't have anything left. Naruto raised his hand, summoning 2 clones as he did. He is going for that again. Miko thought as she watched him create the Rasengan. No matter, it is of little consequence. Her eyes got wide as her ears were assaulted by a high-pitched sound. What is making that sound? Miko thought, gasping when she saw the Rasengan become a massive shuriken. Shit! Miko shouted as she realized she was boxed in due to her own stone walls, thus was not going to be able to dodge. Naruto threw the shuriken, draining the last of his sage mode as it left his palm. It struck Miko's back, and imploded into a dome of wind chakra, violently spinning as Miko screamed in pain, reverting to human form as the walls she created were destroyed. Naruto! Iroh shouted as he saw Naruto fall, jumping up and catching him. Adrian, meanwhile, used his sword to cut the giant chunks of debris heading towards him as Miko was still under attack. But soon, it slowly came to an end, the dome vanishing to show a beaten Miko, her body covered in small lacerations and in much pain. Her chakra network has been destroyed. Iroh thought as he could barely feel any chakra inside his daughter, as she clung to life. Adrian, take Naruto back. I'll deal with her. Of course, Iroh, Adrian said as he took his best friend from Iroh and left. Iroh walked towards Miko. Father, she gasped, clutching something in her hand tightly, and reaching toward him. Yes, dear, Iroh said as he teared up a bit as he took her outstretched hand. I am right here. Miko relaxed a bit as the adrenaline kicked in, her pain lessening. Tell Tamamo, Miko coughed as she placed the object that she held in Iroh's hand. She is my successor. Her hand hit the ground as her body went limp. In Iroh's hand was the white lotus pin that symbolized leadership of Kyoto. Iroh touched her wrist. No pulse. Iroh thought as he sat down. A silent wind pushed through the woods. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells. Iroh sang softly as he looked at his now dead daughter. Drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy, Iroh choked a bit. Comes marching home, he finished as he held the white lotus pin in his hand, unable to hold back his tears. My little soldier boy. Chapter 6, done. Chapter 7, all in the family. Samsara Hall. Miko, with a white headband with a triangle on her forehead, stood before King Enma, the Lord of Hell, and the Buddha himself. Enma had red skin, a big beard, and wore an old Japanese judge outfit. Buddha was a rotund man, giving the aura of enlightenment and wisdom as he looked at the kitsune before him. Miko, Enma said as he looked through the paperwork which documented her life. From what my workers were able to obtain, you were a great leader, always worried for your people. But the existence of a single human caused you to throw everything away and murder your unborn grandchild. Yes, sir, I did. Miko replied, her face remaining unreadable. It says your mother Marco, brother Luten, and husband Yashimaru have passed away also. Enma stated, flipping through some paperwork. They came by here years ago, and were sent to the Pure Lands in God's realm. Miko nodded. But with all you did, where do you believe you will go? Buddha asked as he watched Miko. I believe I will go to the Hell realm. Miko replied as she smiled. I took the innocent life of a child, tried to kill my daughter's fiancé, and all because of my hatred for humans. So, given that evidence, I don't deserve a peaceful afterlife. Enma and Buddha looked at each other. You may have committed murder on many occasions, but most were in defense of your people. Buddha stated as he put his hand on his chin. This is where your nature comes into play. Because you indulged your instinct of hating humans, we are sentencing you to 100 in the animal realm, and if you are redeemed, the Pure Lands will be open to you. Enma clapped his hands and a portal to the animal realm opened behind Miko. She turned and took a deep breath. You too are generous. Miko replied respectfully as she entered the animal realm, losing human form, becoming a fox with a primitive consciousness. She became the animal she was in life. Meanwhile, Kyoto. It was a very cold morning throughout the islands of Japan, mostly concentrated in Kyoto, as they lowered former Empress Miko into her grave next to Yashimaru, her husband. Aizo had been buried a short while earlier, his wife and children mourning his death along with Miko's. Next to the grave was a floral display and a painting of Miko sitting regally on her throne. Iroh, Tamamo, using crutches, Naruto attended with Adrian, Hilda, Vlad, and Lisa, Vlad's human wife. A vast amount of yokai attended as they watched their former empress be buried, their new empress holding Naruto's hand tightly. After the last amount of dirt was placed, all placed a flower next to Miko's portrait. As the yokai left, Naruto and Adrian's family stayed behind, being the last to place their flowers. Tamamo, with Naruto's help, placed her flower down before Naruto placed his next to hers. Iroh, Adrian, Vlad, Hilda, and Lisa placed their flowers after. Grandpa Naruto asked as he held his fiancée close with one arm. I don't have a single good memory of Miko, yet here I stand before her grave, and I don't feel anything. I am not sad, nor am I happy that she is gone. Does that make me a monster? Iroh closed his eyes to think. No, Naruto. Vlad stated, stepping up to the young man. It doesn't make you a monster. It just means that you are neutral, while you, as you said, don't feel anything. All you can do is be there for those who need you. Naruto looked at his grandfather and fiancé. I understand. Naruto replied with a light bow. Thank you, Vlad. Vlad held Lisa close and smiled. It was nothing. Vlad replied as he turned with Lisa. We will take our leave. Adrian, Hilda, are you coming? No, I think we will stay here for a bit. Adrian said as Hilda nodded. We are needed here. Hilda replied as she glanced at Tamamo. I'll provide medical care. Oh, you are such sweet girl, Hilda. Lisa said as she hugged her daughter-in-law. Okay, we will await your return. With that, Vlad and Lisa returned to Wallachia in a plume of magic. The five of them returned to the city. All could see the sadness in the hearts of the citizens. I know what will make them cheer up. Iroh said as he watched his people open their shops and businesses as children went to school. He turned to Tamamo, who wiped her eyes. Yes, Grandpa? She asked. The four young adults watched as Iroh pulled out the white lotus pin. Oh, you are taking back the throne? Tamamo asked, a smile cracking on her face. That's amazing. I am not returning to the throne. Iroh interrupted with a chuckle as he walked up and placed the pin on his granddaughter's kimono. Congratulations, Empress Tamamo. Naruto, Hilda, and Adrian smiled in congratulations and happiness as Tamamo covered her mouth with her hands, eyes watering. But I can't, Tamamo stammered before Iroh put his hand up. I am confident you are ready, dear. Iroh stated with his smile never wavering. Tamamo touched the white lotus pin and accepted it. Thank you, grandfather. Tamamo thanked as she bowed. No need, Empress Tamamo. Iroh joked, getting a pout from his granddaughter. Tamamo crossed her arms as she huffed. I'm so proud of you, Tama. Naruto said as he wrapped his arms around her. Tamamo smiled and kissed him. Now, if only we could have, she started to say as she rubbed her belly. Naruto could see this, and touched their foreheads together, as she wrapped her tail around his waist. That night, prison. What do you want, human? Ozai asked as he looked up from his cell. Naruto stood outside his cell, holding a lantern. Ozai, I have some questions for you. Naruto stated without fear. Ozai chuckled. And why should I respond? I mean, your little whore is going to be our empress, so I have nothing to tell you. Ozai said, eyes closed as he waved Naruto off. Why did Miko hate humans? Naruto asked Ozai. Ozai didn't respond, but Naruto could see from his body language that it was intriguing to him. Oh, that? Well, you know that answer. Ozai replied as he faced Naruto with a sinister smirk. Iroh taught her to hate humans. Naruto didn't show it, but he was shocked to hear that. Iroh was raised in war. Humans continued to come around and kill us, claiming they were exorcists warding off evil spirits, but that was not always true. Ozai continued. Iroh saw the brutality of humans, so when he grew up and became emperor, he fought back. That doesn't tell me anything. Naruto replied. The cycle of hatred has been going on for centuries, so that isn't an answer that is concrete. Ozai chuckled. I am not done, kid. Ozai reminded. Now, Iroh obviously had a family of his own. His wife, Marco, his son Luten, and his daughter Miko. He loved them all dearly, but there is something you probably are thinking. What happened to Iroh's wife, am I right? Naruto nodded. Iroh had never, in his entire life, ever mentioned anything about his wife. Iroh was away on business when Marco went into labor with Miko. Ozai stated, the lantern's flame bouncing off of his face. The moment she started to feel her labor pains, humans attacked, and she had to fight while holding a child in her womb from being born with chakra. The strain killed her once the battle was over. Naruto's eyes were wide and his face was stretched into a pain-blank face to hide his shock. My guess is that this is what mentally fucked Miko to the point she would harm her own daughter the way she did, Ozai stated before his throat was grabbed by Naruto, who was collecting nature energy and entering sage mode. You are sick, Ozai. Naruto stated angrily. Ozai laughed in Naruto's face, making Naruto squeeze harder. Ha, go ahead, kill me, boy. Nothing you do can stop the cycle of hatred, because as long as there are different races, no one will understand each other and be at peace. Ozai shouted before Naruto released him. I'm not like you, Ozai. Naruto stated in anger, as he turned to leave. I don't take pleasure in killing people. Ozai laughed as Naruto left the prison and walked back home, opening a bottle of sake as Tamamo slept and went to the garden to drink. Iroh walked through the compound, finding Naruto alone. Iroh saw the somber look on Naruto's face. Naruto, what's wrong? Iroh asked as he walked up to his grandson and sat down. Naruto put the bottle down and cupped his hands together, trying to think about what to say. Grandpa. Can I ask you something personal? Naruto asked, his hands pressing against his chin. Sure, what is it? Iroh asked as he grabbed the bottle and started to drink from it. Did Grandma Marco die while giving birth to Miko? Naruto asked, making Iroh spit his sake out of his mouth with wide eyes as he coughed, hitting his chest a few times. Where did you hear that name? Iroh asked, knowing he never mentioned his wife before to Naruto. Ozai told me? Naruto muttered in shame. Iroh sighed as he set the bottle down and looked at the ceiling. Did he also tell you why Marco passed away? Iroh asked. Because of humans attacking while you were away, making her fight while she was in labor. Naruto replied. Yes, that is exactly what happened. Iroh stated. I hate those men for what they did, but only them. I hunted them down and killed them with my own hands, but afterwards, I felt empty. Nothing was gained in their deaths. Marco didn't come back and I now had to raise 2 children alone. I believe that is why I myself lost the will to be emperor after Lu Ten died. I lost him much, but also after seeing that I was doing the same to my enemies. The cycle of hatred. Naruto stated. But that makes no sense. Your heart became weakened by Grandma's death, and then shattered your resolve completely when Lu Ten died? Yes. Iroh replied as he closed his eyes. But I also raised my children to hate humans. Lu Ten was young, and so he absorbed it by the fact I was spiteful. Miko, she must have gained her hatred from her mother's passing, and then the death of Yashimaru sent her over the edge. There was a silence between Iroh and Naruto. Do you still hate humans? Naruto asked as he looked at Iroh. No, because the humans who I hate are already dead. Iroh replied. I hate them, not humanity as a whole. Besides, he pulled Naruto into a chokehold and messed with his hair. I adopted you, didn't I? He asked as he looked at Naruto. Yeah, you did. I will never be able to thank you enough, Grandpa. Naruto said as he hugged Iroh. 3 days later, the entirety of Kyoto's yokai district were standing outside the new compound, which had a tower and a temple built. Alright everyone, please enter in an orderly fashion, please, no pushing. A guard stated as he opened the door. Tamamo and Iroh watched the people file in from above in the tower. So many people. Tamamo said nervously. She wore an elegant kimono and had her hair held up in a traditional style with long pins holding it up. On her breast was the white lotus pin. Iroh wore ceremonial armor. I know, but you will be fine. Iroh said as the last few dozen people entered. It's show time. Tamamo and Iroh walked to the bottom of the tower, with Iroh exiting while Tamamo stayed inside. Citizens of Kyoto. Iroh stated as he once again stood before them like an emperor. 3 days ago, we honored Empress Miko with her burial. While we may have lost her, we haven't lost leadership. This perked many citizens up, the elder generations hoping Iroh was taking the throne again. Today, it is my great pleasure to present to you, your new leader, Iroh said as he stepped aside, the door opening again and revealing Tamamo. Many gasping as they saw her, and the white lotus. Empress Tamamo. Tamamo received cheers that echoed across the line. She could sense all the citizens in the new royal compound celebrating. Naruto, meanwhile, was outside the capital and headed deep within the woods at a cliff side. Once deep enough, he regathered his sage mode and made the Rasengan in one hand. I know I remember it being wind. Naruto thought as he summoned a clone. I can create the Rasengan, but can I make it like the shuriken thing? His clone held its hands above the spiraling chakra, trying to shape the chakra into the shuriken, while Naruto put his left hand above the clone's hands to add the wind element. The Rasengan spiraled and imploded, bursting the clone in massive holes in Naruto's palms. Fuck! Naruto shouted in agony as he applied pressure to his hand to try to stop the bleeding. The pain subsided quickly, surprisingly. Naruto winced as he tore 2 long strips off of his clothing off and wrapped it around his hands. Shit! Naruto thought as he sat at the edge of the cliff, looking out towards the capital. He took in the sight of his home and put his hands before his eyes, making a rectangle with his index fingers and thumbs. It's small enough to fit in my hand. Naruto thought as he looked at Kyoto. But soon, I hope we can expand further. An image of a village appeared as he got lost in his thoughts. It was large and had a wall surrounding it, and on the cliff at the back were 5 faces carved into it. That would be something. Naruto thought as he smiled happily. He leaned back on his hands as he took in the scenery, and he didn't feel any pain. Wait, this doesn't seem right. Naruto thought as he took the bandages off his hands. He looked at the back of his hands and saw they were healed. No way. Naruto thought as he looked at his palms, his eyes widening in confusion and surprise. On his left hand was a black crescent moon. On his right hand was a white sun. Naruto blinked and they were gone. Must have been my imagination. Naruto thought as he touched his hands. But I somehow healed my wounds. He shrugged it off, taking it as a blessing because now his hands didn't hurt. I'll come back later after talking to Grandpa about chakra shape and chakra form. How do I know those terms? Naruto thought as he stood up. He shook his head. I must have heard it from someone. Naruto shrugged as he faced the cliff. Naruto jumped and felt the air push against his body as he picked up speed. He grabbed a strong tree branch and swung around a few times before letting go, landing in a nearby tree and continuing his tree hopping. He took a deep breath, smelling the scent of the earth and the trees as he evaded the branches while he moved. I love my home. Naruto thought as he landed on a particularly large tree. I wouldn't trade it for anything. He gradually made his way home and was welcomed by his fiancée and grandfather. Skip, Wallachia, Naruto, Tamamo, and Hilda stood beside Lisa, who was smiling proudly as they watched Vlad confront his council of vampires. My friends, Vlad said as he stayed standing while the rest of them sat down. It is time that I make a certain announcement. The vampires whispered amongst themselves, wondering what their leader was going to say. I am getting older, and each year I feel myself weakening. Vlad admitted. So, I shall hand my position and title over to my son, Adrian Alucard Teeps. Adrian appeared behind his dad, sword at his hip as he stood before the council. But my lord, he is not a true-blooded vampire. One vampire named Carmela stated in hidden disgust. How can we be sure he is capable of leading us? Adrian said nothing as his sword magically unsheathed itself and sliced through the air and stopped 1 centimeter from Carmela's nose. Is this enough proof? Adrian asked coldly. I am sorry, Lord Adrian. Carmela apologized. Adrian sighed as he recalled his sword to its sheath. It is no problem, Carmela, just don't forget that was your only warning. Adrian said as he took his seat, not noticing the angry glare Carmela gave him. 1 month later, you may kiss the bride. The monk said, smiling as Naruto and Tamamo kissed, wearing traditional Japanese wedding attire as friends, family, and the citizens of Kyoto cheered as their empress was now married. Adrian and Hilda clapped the loudest next to Iroh, who was weeping happily as his remaining family found happiness together. Naruto and Tamamo walked down the hall and at the end, Tamamo held up the bouquet. Many women prepared to catch it, and when Tamamo threw it, and a Kappa girl caught it. Naruto and Tamamo laughed as the female Kappa ran over to Danamaru, kissing his cheek. Seems he will be the next one to get married. Naruto laughed. Tamamo said nothing as she hugged him, happy to finally have his ring on her finger. Come on, let's go get some of the cake that Adrian brought. Tamamo said as she dragged her husband over to the cake. After several hours, Naruto sat down next to Iroh. I am so proud of you, Naruto. Iroh stated as he pinched Naruto's cheek. Gramps, I'm 22, don't treat me like a kid. Naruto said as he pushed Iroh's hand off. Oh really? Iroh asked as he nudged Naruto. Hey! Naruto shouted, tapping Iroh's arm. Iroh laughed as he released Naruto and stood up. Let's party! Iroh shouted as he grabbed more sake. Naruto sighed. Grandpa is as happy as ever. Naruto thought as he scratched his head before Tamamo appeared behind him. Naru, come on. Let's dance. Tamamo urged with a bright smile as she took him to the dance floor. As this merriment was going on, Ophis, who was wearing a kimono, Getta's shoes, and had her hair in twin pigtails, floated above the hall, using magic to see inside. Ashura, I am happy that you are married. Ophis thought as she floated about, seeing different angles of Naruto and Tamamo dancing, Adrian and Hilda dancing, Lisa taking care of a drunk Vlad and Iroh. You may have been raised in a cruel world, a human amongst yokai, but you are strong, my son, Ophis smiled. Not one that was just an empty facial expression, but a seriously happy smile that a mother would have on their child's wedding day. She floated down, her feet touching the ground before the door. Ophis raised her hand to enter the building, but she stopped. No, it isn't right. Ophis thought, her smile returning to its false facade. It's the happiest day of his life, why should I ruin it? Ophis sadly walked away from the door, unwilling to be the one to ruin it. She raised her arm and moved it in a circular motion before her, as she vanished from Kyoto. Just as the remaining part of her body vanished, a large explosion erupted and hit the barrier surrounding Kyoto, shaking the whole city. What is going on? Iroh shouted with he and Vlad sobering up pretty quickly. Lady Tamamo, Lord Iroh. A guard shouted as he had a communication seal at his ear. It's the 3 factions. They are at war. Chapter 7, done. Chapter 8, tipping the scale. 1 year later, Muromachi period, Kyoto, 1349. The faction war, which had been going on for centuries in the underworld, had been uprooted and placed in the human world. All who were non-combatants were scared for their lives and their families. Many fled to remote areas. Most stayed home and hoping their leaders would protect them. General Iroh, we need to take action. One of the war council demanded angrily. The faction war is at our borders, our citizens cower in fear, and all you say we will do is build our defenses. Iroh glared at the council member who said this. It is because our empress does not wish to join this pointless war. Iroh stated as he looked at the table, which was a massive map of Japan, key locations marked, and many small buildings and ships. It does not concern us, so we shall defend our borders with our brethren. Speaking of whom, where is our leader? One of the less bloodthirsty council members asked. Iroh paused. Because she was needed elsewhere, and I offered to be here in Lady Tamamo's place. Iroh replied. Doctor's office. Like the last checkup, Lady Tamamo, the doctor said as she looked at the paperwork. Your womb and ovaries have been damaged. The chance of you bearing a child is close to zero, but not impossible. Tamamo's ears drooped and lay on her head, her tails between her legs as she heard the grim news for the third time. Lady Tamamo, are you doing all right? The doctor asked as she noticed the bags under Tamamo's eyes and the paleness in her skin. Yes, just a bit stressed due to the factions fighting near us. Tamamo laughed as she waved her hand with a false smile. Thank you, I won't bother you again, doctor. But the doctor started to say before Tamamo left. Tamamo walked through the capital, receiving bows of respect as the citizens moved out of her way. Smiling and thanking them, Tamamo was emotionally drained. These children. She thought as she saw a group of young yokai of various heritage running along the street, subconsciously touching her own stomach. Ours could have been like that, so carefree and happy. Tamamo had to hold back her tears. She was the Empress of Kyoto, she could not show weakness right now with the devils, fallen, and the angels fighting. She had to be strong to give her people the hope of survival. I'm home. Tamamo said to no one in particular as she arrived at the compound she shared with Naruto and Iroh. Tama, welcome back. Naruto said as he walked in the garden. Tamamo felt a spark of happiness flicker as she saw her husband, hugging him with her ears perked up and her tails wrapped around him. Naruto blinked as he felt Tamamo's negative emotions. Tama, what's wrong? Naruto asked as he pulled back a bit, their arms still around each other. You're sad. Tamamo cutely blinked and tilted her head in confusion. What? Why would I BS? Does it have anything to do with your checkup? Naruto asked, cutting her off as she tried to avoid the question. Tamamo felt herself nearly slip into a confession, but caught herself as she laughed, a big smile on her face. Oh, that's not why. Tamamo started before she went quiet from the sad look Naruto had on his face. Naruto reached up and cupped her cheek, making her nuzzle his palm as she touched his hand with hers. Tama, please tell me the truth? Naruto asked calmly and softly. Tamamo cracked. Her lip trembled as tears started to fill her eyes. Ears on flat on her head, tails shaking as they bunched up behind her. The doctor said I most likely won't be a mother. Tamamo confessed, gripped her beloved's hand tightly. On top of that bad news, the faction war has been ravaging our borders. Everyone is scared. The council wants to get involved, but that would cause more of our people to die. Naruto said nothing, hanging off of every word she said as tears streaked down her face. I don't know what to do. Tamamo cried as she pulled Naruto into a very tight hug, her tears soaking their clothing. I am so lost. I never wanted this to happen. Grandpa is doing his best to shoulder this burden, but it hurts knowing he is doing this despite being retired because of my incompetence to make a decision. Naruto hugged his wife, rubbing her back as she bawled her eyes out. I thought we would have had a child right now, a newborn. The next prince or princess of our home. But here I am, a disappointment to my ancestors. Tamamo cried out, nearly bowing Naruto's eardrums out. Naruto still said nothing as Tamamo heaved in oxygen. I am sorry, Tamamo said as she felt mucus ooze from her nose. I'm sorry. She felt Naruto's hand on the back of her head, his fingers gently rubbing across her head, grazing the base of her ears. It's okay. Naruto said softly as he closed her eyes. If your ancestors consider you a disappointment, then they are the disappointment in my mind. You are doing the best you can, and in doing so, you have protected many lives. While we do screw up here and there, we are learning. Tamamo gripped his back as she pulled back and kissed Naruto deeply. Oh God, she has mucus on her lips. Naruto mentally screamed as he tasted it. I love you. 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 Tamamo chanted as she kissed him. Okay, Naruto gasped out. Tamamo cried as she kept kissing him and didn't stop for an hour, and didn't let him go. That night, I see. Iroh said as the three sat at the dinner table. I am sorry to hear that, dear. Tamamo nodded as she ate some of her dinner, but there is still a chance of a child. Naruto said calmly and sort of nervously. Tamamo frowned a bit before pointing her chopsticks at him. You fucking another kitsune for a child is not going to happen, pervert. Tamamo stated clearly and scarily. Naruto swallowed a lump in his throat as he shook his head quickly. No. Naruto said in a panic. I mean we could adopt if we can have our own chapter. Oh. Tamamo replied, any anger and tension gone, making Iroh chuckle. Okay, that makes more sense. Naruto let out a breath he was holding in. Let's keep the baby talk between you two, okay? Iroh asked as he didn't want to bust his guts laughing at them. Naruto and Yasaka nodded. Also, there is something else I want to talk about. Naruto continued as he looked at Iroh and Tamamo's eyes. Why haven't you allowed me to help out at the borders? Iroh and Tamamo looked at each other, and then him. We don't want to lose you, Naruto. Iroh stated in a tone that said it was obvious. And with what has been going on, we don't want to put you in danger. Tamamo finished in the same tone as Iroh. Naruto deflated a bit. Well, that does make sense. But this is my home too. I want to help and staying here isn't helping anyone. Naruto replied calmly as he understood their reasoning. I understand that, dear. Tamamo replied as she sipped some of her soup. But I am afraid I'll. Then give me something that isn't dangerous to do. Naruto urged. As long as I am doing something. Like I can help with the refugees from the borders with my shadow clones. I can help take care of them, feed them, and keep their spirits up. I think that is a lovely idea. Iroh said before Tamamo could speak. Naruto smiled as he started to think of what he could do to help them. Skip, 1 month later. Many children were laughing as Naruto's shadow clones performed tricks. This is really fun. Naruto said to Damamaru, who had volunteered to help Naruto with the refugees. Currently, they were stationed in Amagi, Kagoshima, and the two of them with fellow volunteers cooking a massive meal for everyone. Yeah, it is. Damamaru replied with a big smile. Their main goal was to help the people. However, Naruto and Damamaru with a select group would go to the border and enhance it with their chakra every night for the last month. Before Naruto could speak, he was overwhelmed by the immediate flood of negative emotions. Dragons? Kyoto, dragons? A general shouted as he barged into the War Council Hall, getting them all in a frenzy. Off the shores of Amagi. And they aren't alone. The faction leaders and their armies are trying to kill them. Upon hearing that, Iroh took off, his sage mode activated as he leaped great lengths of distance. Hold on, Naruto, I'm coming. Iroh thought with intense worry. Amagi. Naruto and Damamaru turned to the coastline before the barrier rippled and shook from two colossal dragons, red and white respectively. They were all surrounded by devils, angels, and fallen angels. They are fighting dragons together? Naruto thought as a sea of fear and cries echoed through the air. Everyone, follow me! Damamaru shouted as the shadow clones popped while Naruto stood there, staring wide-eyed at the two dragons as fire and energy bloomed before the barrier, making it shake even more. Amazing, Naruto thought as he saw them fighting their attackers as citizens ran past him. The Devil Kings, the Archangels, and the Grigori were all present and all attacking the dragons. Enough! The white dragon shouted as its blue magic covered its body and smashed through the barrier. Naruto ducked down as dust and debris flew in every direction as the dragons fled within the barrier before it closed, shutting out the factions. Their winged beats destroying the settlement, trees being uprooted from their positions, animals fleeing as the injured dragons landed on the ground dozens of meters away from Naruto's position. Now the red dragon said as the dragons turned on each other. Our fight is no longer being interrupted, Albion. Alright, Drake. Albion replied as he and Drake powered up, their bodies covered in cuts and burns as the devils, fallen, and angels watched through the barrier. Naruto was numb. He could hear his heart beat as he stood still to gather nature energy to enter sage mode. I need to see if there are anyone else here, and save them if there is. Naruto thought in a panic as his body was nearly pushed off the ground from the strong winds the dragons created. The moment after Naruto entered sage mode, he sensed a tiny chakra signature close to them. Shit! Naruto thought as he gripped the ground with his chakra and ran towards them. Naruto! Naruto heard Damamaru shout from the distance as the Kappa saw Naruto running. What are you doing? Naruto didn't reply. How could he? The earth shook beneath Naruto, the water on the beach being pushed outward to the open ocean, most of it boiling into steam from the raw power of the dragon's magic. I am here to help. Naruto shouted as he neared the person. He found the yokai trapped under some trees and boulders. Rasengan! Naruto shouted as he used the jutsu to turn the boulder to dust and then picked the trees up with his bare hands. Come on, let's go! The yokai in question was a young female tanuki and she quickly took Naruto's hand and got up, doing her best to ignore the pain her body was in as Naruto helped her stand. Drake punched Albion, his chest getting cut open by Albion as his power was drained and added to Albion's own. Useless! Drake shouted as he raised both hands above his head and slammed them into Albion's neck. Albion hit the ground, pushing Naruto and the tanuki to the ground from the shockwave. Shit, we are going to die. Naruto thought as his breathing got heavier, his skin sweaty and covered in dirt. No, I am going to save her. He crossed his hands, making 4 shadow clones. Come on, let's go. 2 said as they helped the woman up. Thank you? She called out as the clones took her away. Naruto smiled nervously as his heart beat loudly in his ears. Forgive me, Tamamo? Naruto apologized to no one. Forgive me, Grandpa. But I have to save everyone. Naruto and his 2 clones put their hands together. Please work. Naruto thought as he himself created the Rasengan in his hand. Spinning, wind, and shape. His jutsu spun faster, and as it picked up speed, it warped and blew up in his hand, destroying his clones as chunks of his hand were blown off. Naruto cried out in pain as he collapsed, his blood splashing on the ground. Spinning, wind, and shape. He thought again as he remembered the shuriken jutsu. Come on, I can do this. Chakra form and chakra nature. Form in a shuriken, nature of wind. He shakily crossed his hands again, his right hand shaking worse from the injury as he created 2 more clones. What am I doing wrong? Naruto thought as he put his hand with the clones. One is the core, who makes the shape, one is spinning, and one is adding wind. Naruto gasped as his head pulsed in pain. After the pain subsided, Naruto spun his chakra, but did not complete the Rasengan. The clone on his left started to spin his hands around Naruto's, slowly completing the Rasengan, while the clone on Naruto's right was adding the wind element to the chakra the other clone was using, turning the blue chakra white. Now turn it into a shuriken. Naruto thought as the now white Rasengan started to become a shuriken, followed by the high-pitched noise as the blades cut the air at a faster rate. Drake and Albion turned their attention on the noise, seeing the jutsu being raised above Naruto's head with his damaged hand. Wind style, Rasen Shuriken. Naruto shouted as his clones popped, and he threw it, the jutsu flying at the dragons at a speed faster than the 2 lizards could react before the jutsu expanded and cut deep into their bodies before it detonated, showering them in a dome of wind chakra, slicing them on the cellular level. Oh lord! Michael said as his eyes watched the 2 dragons hit the ground. That is impossible. No way a single yokai could have done that. Lucifer said as he watched in awe, along with Leviathan, Asmodeus, and Beelzebub nodding in agreement with their leader. Damn, and here I thought I saw everything. Azazel said in amusement, glancing at the leaders of the factions, before turning to look at Naruto. I bet dear old dad would be amazed at this guy. Naruto, meanwhile, fell to his knees, gasping for air after having used all his sage chakra, as his eyes returned to normal and the rings vanished. I did it, Naruto thought weakly as he looked up at the factions behind the barrier. Shit, the factions are still here. Naruto's body became cold as Albion and Drake got up, wailing and roaring in agony as they stood up, their anger focused solely on Naruto. Petulant child! Drake shouted as he gathered his magic, glowing green. For this insult, you shall die! Albion roared as his blue magic covered his body. Albion and Drake finished charging their attacks and fired their magic from their mouths, the magic from each dragon meeting and merging together to eradicate everything into ash. Before any lives could flash before someone's eyes, Iroh appeared before Naruto, arm extended and connecting with the immense power Drake and Albion had used. Grandpa, Naruto called out weakly, his eyes widening a bit as he realized what Iroh was doing. Hey! Iroh pulled the magic within him, his flesh tearing itself apart as holes appeared as the energy flooded his system, rendering his arm useless. Iroh grunted as he used chakra to force his arm to move as he finished assimilating the attack into himself, magic and chakra cracking across his body as blood floated through the air with chunks of muscle and skin. Grandpa, Naruto called out as he reached forward weakly. Iroh made his hand move the magic through his torso to his left arm, further ruining his body, biting his lips with his teeth very hard to keep focus. Grandpa! Naruto shouted as Iroh pointed his left hand at the stunned dragons. Naruto, Iroh said in massive amounts of pain as blood sprayed from his mouth and into his beard. I love you, and tell Tamamo that I love her too, Grandpa! Naruto shouted as he finally made his legs move to stop Iroh. Iroh set his stance, and let loose the magic he had gathered. The dragonic magic burst from Iroh's fingers as lightning chakra, splitting into 2 paths as they left his body. Drake was struck in the face as Albion was impaled through the chest, both electrocuted with their own magic which they couldn't counter. Iroh felt his vision blur, as his body lost all feeling. Holes covered his arms and torso as blood leaked from them as he ran out of blood, making him lose his balance. Marco, Luten, Yashimaru, Miko, he thought with a calm smile as he was caught by Naruto, who Iroh saw yelling for help, but he could no longer hear. I am coming home, as a little soldier boy, Grandpa! Naruto shouted as he held Iroh's body, so panicked he looked for anyone who could help. Anyone please, we need medical help. No one heard him. No one came. The only people who could have helped were the factions, and they were outside the barrier, unable to help. Naruto started to hyperventilate. He isn't dead. He can't be, Naruto thought as he failed to stand, falling over Iroh's tails, now lifeless and unmoving. Grandpa is going to be okay. His hyperventilation worsened as Albion grunted as he tried to stand, while Drake didn't budge, knowing he would not survive even if he did manage to flee. Naruto's eyes widened in fear at the dragons. How did they live? He thought as he wanted to run, but his body was not responding. Tears flooded his eyes as he hit the ground. Albion, using the remnants of his strength, drained the barrier of its power and opened it again. This isn't the end. He thought before he was beheaded by Michael. Albion! Drake shouted before he was also killed, this time by Azazel. That takes care of that. Azazel laughed as he walked next to his brother as the angels started to hack the dragons' corpses into pieces to take back to their father, who had desired to turn them into sacred gears. Indeed, and now our war can continue, Lucifer said as he floated above Michael and Azazel. Why? They turned and saw Naruto on the ground, unable to move. A human? Lucifer asked, amazed as he realized that it was a human who weakened the dragons. And General Iroh of the yokai faction. Why did you guys have to fight? Naruto demanded, pointing at the faction leaders. You all did this. You are the reason why we put this barrier up. It's all your fault so many had to die. Michael, who had also realized that Naruto was the origin of the shuriken, immediately felt grief. Shut up! Naruto shouted, his voice cracking and becoming high-pitched. I am not looking for your apologies. I just want you gone. Naruto recoiled when Lucifer appeared before him. Don't push your luck, boy. Lucifer stated as his glare bore straight through Naruto. Naruto shook as sweat covered every segment of his body as the Satan loomed over him and Iroha's body. Lucifer looked at Iroha's face, seeing the smile. He closed his eyes and turned, his cape whipping behind him as Naruto hit the ground, 3 long cuts at vital points opened spraying his blood on the grass. His eyes glazed white. Lucifer, Azazel, and Michael stated in disagreement. He was just a boy who had nothing to do with. He is an enemy. Lucifer replied as he regrouped with his fellow Satans. On the battlefield, there are comrades and enemies. Now that the dragons are dead, we no longer have a common goal, meaning all here who aren't devils are my enemy. And the boy will suffer a painless death. Lucifer signaled for all his men to retreat, and thus the devils left Japan. Michael ran to Naruto, intent on healing him, but was stopped in his tracks. Sand? He thought as he saw lumps of sand running along the deep lacerations on Naruto's body, red chakra coating the wounds as the blood flow was stemmed. Azazel whistled in amazement as he watched. This is the kid who has chakra that we heard about. Azazel said with a chuckle as Barakiel, Shemhazai, and Kokabeel rounded up their forces. Anyway, brother, you need to get your forces to gather the dragon parts before any yokai reinforcements come and think we killed them. Michael knew Azazel made a good point. I will return them to Kyoto. Michael stated as he used magic to coat and carry Iroh and Naruto. It is the least I can do, Azazel shrugged. Have it your way. Azazel stated before he and his forces left. Lord Michael, we are ready to return to heaven. An angel said to Michael, please, return to Father. I will be taking these 2 men home. Michael replied, unfurling his wings and flying towards Kyoto. Chapter 8 done. Chapter 9, Promised Child. Kyoto. Tamamo gasped as she felt a holy presence enter her city. Her ears picked up on the sound of feet slamming against the floor. Lady Tamamo! A yokai shouted as they tore open the sliding door. Urgent news! Archangel Michael has entered the city limits. And he has Lord Iroh and Naruto. Tamamo entered sage mode, the same tribal markings her mother had, before breaking through the wall where she sensed Michael. She landed on the ground before seemingly vanishing from view before she appeared before Michael, who flew low to the ground through Kyoto, carrying Iroh and Naruto in his arms. He had heard many gasps of the people of Kyoto as he walked through the streets, and heard insults thrown his way, but he gracefully forgave and ignored them. Now, he looked down at Tamamo, who was staring at Iroh and Naruto in his grasp. Tamamo was livid, her body frozen in anger and intense cold fear. She could feel nothing from Iroh and could feel an ember of life inside Naruto. How could you? Tamamo asked as she slowly walked up to Michael, who floated down and landed on the ground, a solemn look on his face full of shame and regret. His cheek became red after Tamamo punched him as hard as she could with the power of the Lee lines, sending him backwards, dropping Naruto and Iroh. But they were caught by Tamamo, who pulled them into her arms. How could you kill my grandfather and husband? She shouted as she started to cry. Tamamo, Empress of Kyoto, shed tears before her people. She showed them her weakness as she broke down. She showed them she was nothing more than a yokai like them as she cried, her voice echoing through the nation of Japan. Michael, now covered in dirt and blood, which came from Iroha's body having holes through his torso, stood up, not bothering to be angry. I was there when the great general gave his life to protect this boy. Michael replied softly as he reapproached Tamamo, who looked at him with a warning growl, but he still pushed forward. That boy, I mean your husband, fought bravely against the dragons that had interrupted the faction war. Michael continued as he neared the angered Kitsune. He was able to defeat them, but it wasn't enough. The great General Iroh stepped in and deflected a blast back at them to protect your husband at the cost of his life. Tamamo paused. Her anger was very present, but she had calmed down at the mention of Iroh protecting Naruto. After that, the dragons tried to escape, but we slaughtered them. But Michael said in anger, as he gripped his hands. Lucifer attacked him without warning. Tamamo's anger flared at these words. That is why he is like this. Michael finished as he opened his hands. I couldn't leave him or General Iroh there. He isn't dead, but he is in bad shape. Tamamo shook. I thank you? Tamamo replied softly as she exited sage mode, standing up with Iroh's body and Naruto in her arms as her tears still streaming down her face. Now leave. Never return here, Michael. Michael apologetically smiled and bowed. Of course. Michael said before he left Kyoto, the border yokai opening the barrier to let him leave. Samsara Hall. Iroh, wearing white kimono and the triangle headband, stood before the Buddha and Lord Enma. General Iroh. Enma said as he opened up a very thick file that had records of Iroh's entire life, which was pretty long. Your life achievements are quite astounding, though your early life was spent spreading hate and anger of the previous generations onto the next. Iroh finished as he saw the red pages in the file. I am no stranger to my past. I was set on conquering nations, like my father before me, and in turn, my son and daughter. Iroh had a shameful smile on his face as his tails swayed. I know I made a lot of mistakes, and I hurt a lot of people. He continued solemnly. So, I am prepared for the afterlife I deserve. The Buddha and Enma laughed, which greatly confused Iroh, making him look at them like they were crazy. It is true, you may have tried to conquer people, Enma stated as he calmed down from his laughing fit. But you made up for it by raising and nurturing the promised child. The who? Iroh asked. You mean my grandson Naruto? Buddha and Enma nodded, but enough of that. Buddha said as he pulled out a gourd and drank for it. Your afterlife has been chosen, enjoy. He snapped his fingers, causing a portal to open behind Iroh. I want to know more. Iroh thought as he contemplated to ask more or go to his afterlife. After some thought, Iroh stepped into the portal, and he was greeted by a bright light, and as it faded, Iroh smiled, tears filling his eyes. Standing before him was Luten, Yashimaru, and his wife, Marco, all of them wearing the white kimono and headbands. Marco was a tan-skinned kitsune with golden blonde hair and tails. She was very busted. Iroh. Marco purred as she saw her husband, who had slimmed down, his body became more fit, and his hair became black once again, having de-aged in the heavenly realm of the samsara. Father. Luten and Yashimaru said as the three of them walked over to Iroh, who hugged them all tightly. I am home, he said tearfully. I'm sorry I failed you all. Marco, Luten, and Yashimaru were confused. I failed you, because I failed Miko, Iroh stated as he let them go. Marco raised her hand and swiftly planted it down on Iroh's head, making his eyes bug out as she did. What was that for? Iroh asked as he held his head in pain. Marco smiled and hugged Iroh. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells. Marco started to sing, catching Iroh off guard. Drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home. Iroh smiled and relaxed into his wife's embrace as she sang. Luten and Yashimaru said nothing, watching Iroh resign himself to his afterlife, his anxiety, fears, and uncertainties fading into nothing, as the way of the heavenly realm of samsara, or, as the yokai called it, the pure lands. Meanwhile, Kyoto, Tamamo and the citizens stood in the cemetery, placing flowers at Iroh's grave. All were silent, even the happy children who were oblivious, because all knew they lost a hero and a great leader. Tamamo was the last to place her flower, wearing black kimono with dark blue accents to symbolize mourning. Grandpa Tamamo thought tearfully as she stood up. I lost you, Mama, and my child, please have a peaceful sleep. Tamamo returned to the compound and silently walked to Naruto's room. Inside, Naruto lay in his futon, his wounds healed completely after having 3 of his arteries cut open even before the doctors got to him. Thank goodness that sand kept him from bleeding out, Tamamo thought as she sat beside her sleeping husband, trembling as she ran her hand through his hair. Please come back to me, Naruto. I can't lose you too, she bit her shaking lip, trying to get herself together. I love you, Naruto, Tamamo said to him, knowing she wouldn't get an answer. She leaned over and kissed his lips. I'll be back later with some food, she said as she stood up and left. Naruto's mind, unknown. Naruto walked aimlessly in the darkness. He had no idea where he was or if he was still alive. He could feel a familiarity, but it was vague. After walking for who knows how long, he saw a faint light. At the end of it, he stood at the gate of a village in the middle of a large forest. Where am I? He thought as he looked up, seeing a red sign with what appeared to be a leaf on it. He couldn't sense anyone in the village as he entered, seeing the giant mountain way in the back with 5 faces. 4 males and a single female face were carved into the mountain. What is this place? Naruto thought as he walked through the village, unsure of where he was. Why is a place this big abandoned? A smell wafted across Naruto's nose. What is this delicious smell? He thought as he followed it. It's ramen. He followed the smell to a small ramen stand, Ichiraku written on the sign. He heard the sounds of someone slurping noodles inside, and he saw someone sitting at the counter wearing orange and black clothes with a black headband on his head with blonde hair. Hey! Naruto said as he entered the stand, looking at the young man, who was roughly 16 or 18 years old. The teen turned, holding a bowl in his left hand and chopsticks in his right, mouth full with puffed cheeks as he slurped ramen with a look of confusion. Naruto gasped as he took a step back. That's me? He thought as he saw himself staring at him. The teen Naruto slurped the ramen and swallowed it, sighing with a smile of content and happiness before he looked back at Naruto with a smile. Hey, been a while, he said as he tapped the stool next to him. Take a load off, old man. Naruto's hand cracked teen Naruto's skull. I'm not that old, I'm 23. Naruto shouted. Teen Naruto laughed as he recovered. Sure, take a seat, Teen Naruto said as he grabbed his bowl. Hey, another bowl, make it 2 beef ramen bowls with extra eggs. You got it. A disembodied voice called. Tochi. Naruto called out, looking in the back with high hopes, only to see no one there. Naruto felt intense sadness creep into his heart, as he was unable to see Tochi. Yeah, but he isn't here, only his memory, Teen Naruto said as his bowl magically refilled itself, and a second steaming hot bowl appeared. Now sit down, you are probably hungry, right? Naruto's stomach growled as he drooled at the bowl. Sure, he said as he sat on the stool, taking the chopsticks. Thanks for the food. He picked up the noodles and ate them, his face becoming full of happiness. See, good right? Team Naruto asked as he nudged Naruto. Yeah, Naruto choked as he started to cry, hand on his face as he tried in vain to wipe the tears away. What is going on? What is this place? Who are you? Teen Naruto smiled as he continued to eat. What do you think this place is? He asked as he ate. Naruto turned and opened the flaps, looking around. An empty village. Naruto answered. Teen Naruto waited for the rest of his answer, and got none. He laughed a bit before he finished his ramen. It's okay, we didn't expect you to remember. Teen Naruto said as he got up and started to leave, before stopping to turn to Naruto, to whom he extended his hand to with a sincere smile. You coming? Naruto looked at his younger self's hand, a large lump in his throat as his breathing became difficult. He reached up and took his hand. Okay, lead the way, he said shakily. Teen Naruto flashed a big grin, showing his teeth as the village vanished, the two of them in ankle-deep water, surrounded by 9 giant yokai-like beasts. A single-tailed tanuki made of sand, a two-tailed black and blue fire Nikomata with heterochromatic, yellow and green, eyes, a purple and gray turtle with 3 shelled tails, an orange 4-tailed ape with green skin, a 5-tailed dolphin-headed horse with horns, a 6-tailed slug with stubby arms, an armored rhinoceros beetle with 7 tails, 6 of which were represented by wings with a sing tail, an 8-tailed squid/ox with one of its horns cut off, a 9-tailed kitsune with crimson-orange fur. They all smirked as they saw the 2 Narutos. Look what the old idiot dragged up. The 9-tailed said with a chuckle at the confused Naruto as it extended its right fist towards Naruto. Long time no see, Naruto. Naruto was so confused, but raised his hand up, and fist bumped the kitsune, gasping as his eyes widened. 6 months later, 1350, Kyoto. Empress Tamamo, we need to get involved. One of the council members stated. Tamamo, with heavy bags under her eyes, glared at the councilman. We don't need to get involved with a war that has no Tamamo started to say. But God is dead. Another council member interrupted. He died sealing 666, so we could kill the factions and end this war for good. Think of the next generation. Tamamo took a deep breath. I will not endanger the lives of my people in a war that has nothing to do with us. Tamamo stated clearly and sternly, giving all of them a challenging glare. Now, onto the other topic. Adrian Teeps has agreed to an alliance between his faction and ours, so when we are in need, they will be the first to help, and when they are in need, we will be there to help the vampires. There were murmurs, none were objections, and the tension lightened as they continued to talk about trade and advancements in their technology. Tamamo and the council ended after another 2 hours. Tamamo sighed in tiredness as she entered the compound. Empress. Damamaru said as he bowed with his wife, Tashimi, who was also a kappa. The 2 of them had moved into the compound shortly after Naruto went comatose, helping take care of him and Tamamo. Hey Damamaru. Tamamo replied tiredly as she removed her shoes. I think I will go nap. Damamaru and Tashimi nodded as they went to grab something while Tamamo headed to her room. It's been 6 months. Tashimi said sadly as she leaned into her husband's arm. Tamamo has been working very hard on top of taking care of Naruto. Damamaru nodded as they started to get the medicine. Ayak. Damamaru, Tashimi, and a few guards ran to Tamamo's bedroom. Empress, what's wrong? They shouted as they barreled in. Tamamo was unhurt, with a look of shock and disbelief on her face. Where is he? She muttered as she stared downward. Following her gaze, everyone looked over and gasped. Naruto's futon was empty. Tamamo entered sage mode, spreading her ability to sense life as far as she could, which was over the entire islands of Japan, and could not sense Naruto anywhere. Battlefield. The factions were tired. It is what happens when war goes on for years, decades, centuries. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Dulio and were starting to worry as the angels too the most casualties out of the 3 factions. They lost soldiers and their father, God. Lucifer and Beelzebub were starting to lose their lust for battle. They lost Leviathan and Asmodeus. Several pillar families had lost many members, becoming near extinct. Kokabeel was excited as the fallen angels lost the least number of warriors, but Azazel was getting tired of war along with Shemhazai. They lost the least in this war, but the loss of comrades started to weigh on the minds of the survivors who weren't heartless. This is it. The heads of each faction thought. The final wave of this war. Right as they started to charge, Naruto appeared in the center of them all, stoic and calm. Who are you? Kokabeel shouted, angered by this group. Everyone could feel Naruto was human, setting a mindset that he was a weakling. Naruto took a deep breath. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stated loudly, all members hearing him. And this war end, now. Silence. Many warmongers laughed, as if a human could stop any of us. A random devil shouted. Naruto's composure never faltered while he heard growling in his mind. It ends now. Naruto stated before he pointed to the devils. You have lost 2 Satans. He points to the fallen angels. You have lost many warriors. He pointed to the angels. You lost God. Naruto took another breath. I represent the yokai faction. We may not have been an active part of this war, but we still lost many citizens, and we lost our former leader, General Iroh, because of your lust for battle. Naruto stated as he glared at the remaining leaders. I know your pain, so please stop fighting, go home to your families and continue to live. A moment of silence let those that wanted peace to realize this. Every faction has lost something. Naruto stated. So, to preserve your lives, end this now with peace. You work together to defeat the Sky Dragons. That is proof you can all work together and forget the past for a brighter future. Kokobile, getting tired of this talk, manifested a large light spear. Enough of this garbage. Kokobile shouted as he threw the spear at the lowly human scum. Die, you pathetic piece of trash. I see. Naruto muttered sadly as he extended his arm. My words aren't enough. The spear hit his hand, making Kokobile smirk before his light spear became smaller before it vanished. What the fuck? Kokobile shouted in shock, his actions causing murmurs amongst all factions. It seems there are still those who wish to fight. Naruto said in disdain. Then, for those who still thirst for battle, his body was enveloped in a golden light, nearly blinding everyone close to him. The energy dimmed and Naruto stood before the factions. He looked like a battle-hardened sage with his clothes being made of golden yellow chakra and black clothes. Behind him were 9 black floating orbs. His eyes were yellow with a fox-slit pupil mixed with a toad bar pupil. His whisker marks covered in solid black bars. 2 of his bangs floated up to look similar to horns. On his forehead was a vertical third eye. It was blood red with a ripple pattern and 9 tomo on the ripples. May stay and fight us, but be warned. The 10 of us won't hold back. Naruto declared as he summoned 9 clones, each one having different shaped/colored eyes. Ha! You must have lost your mind. Kokobile shouted as he laughed but stopped when 9 massive figures formed from Naruto's power. A tanuki with 1 tail, a Nikomata with 2 tails, a turtle with 3 tails, a monkey with 4 tails, a horse with 5 tails, a slug with 6 tails, a beetle with 6 wings and 1 tail, an ox with 8 tails, and a kitsune with 9 tails. They were constructs of chakra made of Naruto's golden yellow chakra with black markings on their bodies like Naruto's. 1. What is this power? Everyone thought as Naruto himself became enveloped in a purple chakra that became a giant Tengu-like creature, its wings having tiny hands holding 2 swords. Sasuke, you and your Susanoo were my greatest opponent. Naruto thought as he floated in the forehead gem on the Susanoo, looking at his left hand, which had the mark of the moon, and then stared at his right, which had the mark of the sun. Thank you for your strength. The weaker members of every faction collapsed and shook at this power while the stronger ones could feel it, and knew he was strong enough to fight, and most likely defeat all the faction leaders since they were exhausted while Naruto himself was fresh and at full power. Nearby, hiding their power, was Ophis. He has awakened his power. Ophis thought happily. Ashura, Indra granted you his power, but how much power remains to be seen. I am at full power while all of you can barely stand, let alone fight. Naruto stated, getting chuckles from the tailed beasts. Come on, let's slaughter them, Naruto. Shikaka laughed sadistically as sand whipped around his ethereal body. Naruto stayed silent as he felt the emotions of the factions, thanks to Kurama's negative emotion sensing and Senjutsu's sensory power being enhanced by his Byakugan. No. Naruto stated. They are going to leave. There was silence as the faction leaders debated on what to do. Everyone, we are going home. Michael announced, making Gabriel, Raphael, and Dulio blink. The angel faction soldiers were happy to stop fighting, instantly gathering their remaining magic to return to heaven, silently thanking Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, Michael thought as he looked at Naruto as he vanished. Thank you for saving us all. Naruto turned to Azazel, who sighed and turned to face his troops. Pack it up, everyone. He announced in a tired tone. Let's go home. Azazel, are you crazy? Kokobile shouted as Shemhazai and Barakiel were shocked, but happy to accept the end of the war. No, I'm very much sane, Kokobile. Azazel replied as he glared at Kokobile. So, come home, or die here like a fucking dog. Azazel wasn't leaving any room for argument. Kokobile angrily glared at Naruto before he vanished. Someday, you fucking human, I'll kill you, and make you feel this shame and anger I am feeling. Kokobile thought as he and the rest of the fallen returned to their homes. Now Naruto thought as he turned his attention to Lucifer, who had a look of disbelief on his face as he recognized Naruto from 6 months prior. How? He was a weak human. Lucifer thought in rapid succession. There is no way he could amass so much power in just 6 months. Many devils were ready to call it quits, especially now that their main enemies were gone. So, Lucifer, what will you do? Naruto called out from his Susanoo. You going to fight us? Lucifer Leviathan whispered to the angered Lucifer. We should go home. Lucifer tightly grabbed Leviathan's throat. His eyes livid at the words his fellow Satan spoke. You shut the fuck up, Lucifer stated as he gripped tighter. Leviathan gasped when Lucifer threw him to the ground, air filtering into his lungs. Everyone, Lucifer growled after some silence. We are going back to the underworld. The devils were silent, but all could see the relief on their faces. The Gremry heir leaned into the Citri heiress, who hugged him tightly as she cried tears of joy as the Astaroth heir was caught by the Glaciolabila's heir who tried to keep himself awake due to an injury making it painful to move. We are going home. The four thought as they thankfully looked at Naruto. We have to someday thank you, Naruto Uzumaki. The devils eventually vanished, returning to their families in the underworld. What will we do now? Koko asked curiously before she and the other tailed beasts were returned to Naruto's body as he powered down, and he popped his clones. Now, Naruto stated as he reopened his Rinna Sharingan, a portal opening. I get yelled at by my wife. Chapter 9, done. What if Naruto was Sage of God in High School DxD? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.